April CPI data just out 0.3% versus a 0.2% reading expected. 8.3 on a year-over-year basis here. So a miss right across the board here for CPI for April, guys. Overall, stock futures were higher heading into this number, but not going to help things back to the downside for the overall market here in a big way, right through 4,000 for the S&P on that number. Again, a miss for April CPI, 0.3% increase versus 0.2 expected, 8.3 on the year-over-year number. So gains we had all gone back to the downside, coming off a bit of a choppy session yesterday as expected heading into this number. A number of earnings reports to get through this morning, including Roblox and Coinbase, both to the downside in a big way. This is not going to help. We'll also talk about some EV names as well this morning. More news coming through on the EV space, but lots to get through this morning. It's Wednesday, May 11th, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. Instantly back into negative territory here on that number. S&P 500 0.3 now to the downside and falling. The NASDAQ as well, same story. Going to be interesting how this plays out. 4% for crude back higher. But let's get right into this, guys, because if you missed it again, 0.3 versus 0.2% reading. To the downside we go in a big way here, guys, on that April CPI number.
We're both sitting here trading.
So the first thing that absolutely happened was cancel a few bids because I had some dip buys that I really liked. I thought core wouldn't be that bad. I thought maybe at least show some slowing down on core CPI. I managed to cancel 5 of 6. I did get SoFi, which I guess isn't bad. I was already in Viru, but Tesla just hit 785 to the downside here. Coinbase is falling, but that's like a bank error in your favor kind of situation there. I was expecting to play it off of a level, not to have this happen. But wow, this market is heading southbound pretty quickly. But we've seen this reaction before, right? You get one whipsaw, and then there might be quick little bounces upside. So let's see what the overall direction takes. But 4,000 has come and 4,000 has gone. I shouldn't have voted in that poll in the morning. I'm like, why are we doing a vote on where the market is going to end up in the chat before CPI? And of course, I was like, yeah, I'll put 1 for up. And nope.
Coinbase just broke 60. We'll take that to the short side and see what happens there. Welcome, guys. Wow, what a day already. That CPI comes out, what was it, 8.5 there? 8.3 versus 6.2, so not great. But AMD just pumped in. We put out our sticky note. It pumped into a level that we liked, 88 there. I tried to get some more 87s. Let's just see if it breaks through 87 here on AMD. I do like that trade for sure. Coinbase, the biggest disaster. I mean, there's stocks that are lower than this today, but Coinbase absolutely fallen off the face of the earth here. I only took it because it broke 60 there, not big amount of shares. There's AMD, just took a nice little win on that move here, but Coinbase disaster. We still like to get short on that one, but wow. Brendan, I think that one took the market a little bit by surprise. We were up 1.2% or something, and then faded all the way out. So let's get ready to rock and roll, man. This is going to be a hold my beer kind of day. Yeah,
interesting look here right across the board. Back to red for everything that was on my watch list this morning, so in a hurry. Redbox we'll talk about as well, being bought after earnings, down huge. There's also Veru, everyone's favorite, VERU, making moves today on an FDA ruling. So, hey, why don't we get right into things here this morning? Lots to discuss. If you're just joining us a little bit late, something happened there. It was the April CPI number, again, 0.3 to the upside versus a 0.2% increase for April expected. So 8.3 on the year-over-year number versus 8.1 expected. So big miss there for that April CPI. And again, this all goes back to key gauge for the Fed as to how they're going to approach things going forward. I'm going to take a second here and grab the Fed funds tool, guys, and see where we're at for May and June now, because, we saw it yesterday. It was almost 90% on the half point, but maybe we go higher now.
High.
Well, it's worth looking at it.
Yeah, higher on the half point. Yeah, probably. Yeah. They're not going to do 0.75, not with a reading like this, I wouldn't think.
No, I can't see. We shouldn't try to predict what they would do, but it would be, the reading wasn't so far out of bounds that they should move away from what they've been guiding the market towards right? Like we like certainty, and they've been really good about telegraphing. So it would be a little bit of a surprise, but it's worth keeping an eye on that tool. Of course, you're going to have to watch treasuries there. UVXY just like
Yeah, there's lots of stuff.
I don't know if you actually watch a level 2 of this thing. When the number came out, it's like I'm only laughing because if you're actually trying to trade something like that, when a number comes out, the term liquidity vacuum comes into mind. It was a little bit wild, but clearly and obviously spiking to the upside here. There were some dip buys to be had. I tried Viru and already lost. I'm trying to get Unity to the short side. SoFi, thank goodness, I like that level, but was able to catch a little bit of a bid there. But yeah, we watched the tool. I'd be a little bit shocked if they were that aggressive to go 7.5 the next time off of this. That seems a bit much.
Oh, man. We had written down a lot of levels here. We loved this Apple break of 155.50. Didn't put any stop orders in, didn't put anything out here because of what we just experienced in the market. We didn't want to take pre-market shares. Could have got an up and a down kind of move. Apple went all the way down to 153 there on that break of that story, so of the number. You know, that 155.50, wish we would have had that. Probably would have missed it anyways on the way back down, but here goes Apple. Apple's the next big one to drop here. This is the next sword to come falling through. If it cuts through 150, it's see you later. Apple and Microsoft are 24% of the NASDAQ. So you think that if Apple starts heading down 2, 3, 4%, this NASDAQ's going to be down 5, 6, 7, 8%. So you got to watch out for any of these moves, man. Microsoft's already taken down that 270 level, trying to take 260 right now as well. Microsoft, so when it loads, you'll see it's the same kind of chart on the daily. We've already lost Amazon. We lost Alphabet. We're about to lose both Google and Apple coming through here. So yeah, it's not great. We've lost obviously the NVIDIAs of the world, the tech names, all the EV names have been forgotten. You just mentioned Tesla. I mean, what is Tesla now? You said 780? Like that's at that 750 level that I was like, oh my God, this is a definite buy area if it ever came down, not if it ever, when it comes down to here. And now look where we are. We're right here again. So you're about to lose Tesla as well. So yeah, this market's getting nasty real quick. And I don't know where there's any hope in sight because the Fed, which is what we started talking about, has already telegraphed what their moves are. And they're not good. They're 50, they're 50, then let's look to see what happens after that. So yeah, pretty nasty right now in the market. And Brendan, I hope you have some better news for us somewhere.
I can show you a positive chart, and that is the 10-year right now, absolutely ripping through highs. We got down to 2.91 and a half before this number, and then we're right back through 3.04 and a half. So huge move in the 10-year. Here's that rate. It surprisingly actually didn't go up that much. We were at 86, I believe, yesterday. We go to 88% on the half point for June. I said May before. Obviously, it's June and July we're talking about now. Flip over to July here and show you the same thing, 83.6 on the half point. I think it's key and worth mentioning here, guys. This is obviously April, which was before the first interest rate move from the Fed. So delayed data, but we get the reaction anyways.
Yeah, you're right about that. But if you put things in perspective, like look at the drop. I got the SPY up here, and you're still actually seeing a bit of a drop. But if you look at the weekly level, like for 15, like on my 15-minute. Like we're right back towards yesterday's lows, and we had some it was whipsaw yesterday. Like remember, we had this hard reverses, was a big fall into, I guess Monday's low, and then bounce right back up to the top and right back into the lows, and you were set to maybe break again. Man, we start taking out levels like this 395, 395 on the NASDAQ. It'll be 12.1 in, I don't know, T-minus 5 minutes, I suppose, maybe even less than that. Like, it gets pretty significant just from like a market structure standpoint. Like Sean's showing you the individual names because that's what we're going to focus on. Like, you start to drop some of those support levels on the big names. Apple still has to go. But it's the SPY and the NASDAQ actually having big support as well, which is starting to come into play. So this is one of these buckle ups. And if you think that we're through on the earnings for some of those high valuation names, no. You get Rivian tonight, you get Affirm tomorrow, and I'm probably missing out on a few. Yeah, it could get absolutely wild. Coinbase already at 59.
Yeah, Coinbase just
Oh, my
tanked. Like, I know you
goodness.
have a great price at 62. We hammered that 60 short.
I covered too much.
Yeah, at least that was one of the. I mean, look, this is our number one name here. This was even before, guys. This was even before that we put out our CPI. That's before the CPI came out here. We had Coinbase pegged right here for 60 bucks. What a disaster. We talked about it right here. Revenues down 35%, volumes down 38%. Could it get uglier? I mean, we're watching 60. We even did a fun puke emoji right here. So it's all over the sticky note. And there it goes, man. I mean, normally we wish for this to have happened intra-market because, I mean, it doesn't matter. We're winning, so it's all good. But, you know, a little less shares than we would have liked to have. But that's a good trade. You know, up to 62, 75, sort of where Neil's short in the 62s there. I really, really like that level now. 64 is a great level, but Coinbase, just what a disappointment. We've talked about it and just a disastrous drop. This is honestly, I mean, we have other names out there that we talk about that have been pretty disastrous as well from a percentage base. But you know what? Coinbase came out trying to tout itself as a legitimate business. And maybe it still is. I don't know. But the valuations got way too out of hand upside. And I know there's a lot of people caught in this name, like all the way down, including myself. I mean, I was able to get some out at 360, which makes it nice. But other than that, I'll even have to double check to see what I'm still in here because I know I haven't gotten any out, so it has to be disastrous for me. Down to 59 bucks. I'm sure that's the situation for a lot of people. Coinbase just continues to disappoint. And right here, I think it just goes lower, man. You get this bad CPI issue, you know, not making money. This is just not good. Crypto continues to go down. And with people in lack of interest in crypto, Neil, I mean, trading volumes down 38%. That's how they're going to make their money. I know institutional was up a little bit, but still, retail bad. And it's about what the perception of what the street has. And I mean, right now, Coinbase just continues to get killed, and crypto's not going anywhere except for down for now.
And it's not even just like the lack of trading because it's like the Robinhood problem. It's so you have a bunch of people with accounts that are not going to be trading or don't have as much in them, but also just flat out losing users to the tune of 20%, which is absolutely disastrous. There is that. I know there's that deal that RDBX. And that was like an all-stock deal. If you're watching that name, it was halted. I guess, did they open it up? Oh yeah, they did open it up. So this was. Oh,
they got an all-stock deal?
Redbox is merging with. Oh, for the love of. Now I'm forgetting the name.
Was it on our note?
What is it? A Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment.
Oh, okay.
Making a merger with them. And yeah, they did open up. I actually was thinking maybe it'd open closer to the open. That's a horrible pun. But made a bit of a bounce. That's a crazy, crazy move. Open got down to $1.80 and then back up to $3.50. I'm going to maybe read more into the details of that because that seems a bit much. But it's also post-CPI where liquidity was at an absolute premium. But yeah, I'm going to look to short some pops in Coinbase and Unity and anything else that's in that bucket. Probably some Affirm because always. I don't know.
I just realized, yes, that was a good name there. I was looking at SoFi also. We went long into Apple. We just took... Actually, we only got long 24s. I thought we got long more near the bottom there at 53, but we just took a 49. So we just took 25 cents there on Apple, waiting for a retrace back upside here. Although people calling this the Great Reset, that seems to be a little bit dramatic, but hey, maybe this is already happening, so that is what it is right now. SoFi, okay. They got reset a little bit in the last couple months as well, man. We had that open yesterday. That was a very fun day. SoFi here yesterday, but I don't want to steal all the thunder, but people talking about SoFi, and we have it on our board as well. SoFi off the halt yesterday, 510. And I just wanted to bring it up, Brendan, because we just touched basically that reset level right there of 510 on the open again. So SoFi right now trying to test that $5. If you were looking for something possibly to go long, you know, this SoFi right down here isn't horrible because we had that reopen level yesterday of 510 off the halt. So watch out for SoFi here at $5.
Yeah, back on the watch list this morning, a number of negative notes it's worth mentioning on SoFi this morning. Here's that Redbox Entertainment headline this morning. They also reported, which was a part of this announcement, not good for earnings on RDBX, but yeah, an all-stock deal for Redbox. A lot of people unhappy about this all-stock deal I saw on Twitter this morning for RDBX. Here's the other one, Fahad's favorite stock here, Veru, VERU, making moves this morning on FDA authorization to apply for emergency use authorization in the U.S. So nice look for VERU today.
Yeah, and look, I was in the long and Veru and got stopped out. I actually did tighten my stop because of CPI. I tightened my stop in both directions. Like I actually tightened the stop on the Coinbase short, and I tightened the stop on the Veru long. Just understanding that if I got wicked out, if you're in the wrong direction, you could probably reset at a better price. Which, if there's a dip down to 875, like 890, something along those lines, it's going to make a little bit of sense. It was trying to break out of this channel at 1050 here, but as long as it holds above, say, $9, I think there's a chance for a secondary bounce. You know, the news has been continuously good, and you look at the small float here as well, and understand that it can always squeeze into the upside. Sean already talked about SoFi, so I'm playing the bounce off of the 5 after that price. So after the reopen yesterday, so I'm still maintaining that one. It's already been beaten up enough, hopefully, that if it can hold $5, there's some longs to be had. But Veru, I don't think the story's done. Might just be a little bit more patient seeing it consolidate after maybe 9 o'clock and then try to make the play. If it gets up to 1050 again, it's probably a shortable level there with an obvious stop out through what is currently the high at like 1075. But I tend to not want to fight that stock too heavily. Either you get a short off the top or be very, very patient. Very, very careful with it. Always have a stop out there. I know we've still got the bear open. But right now, at least for now, I want to say that the NASDAQ bounced off of yesterday's lows. The ES trying to make some bounces. And as you can look at UVXY, holding that $19 area. Some stability coming in, although not for Coinbase. That's at 58 and still falling. I didn't get into Unity because I can't seem to find my way into it. It's already dropped like $4.
Coinbase was falling there, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put a 58.05 bid in, and I was like, yeah, it's not going to hit, right? It was like at 59. We just got it. Bang, right there to start the day with another $2 winner right there on Coinbase. So not another $2 winner, same trade as always, but that's off the sticky note. There's that 60 break, downside, there it goes. And then just to address someone in the chat, who was it, said, it was Dan Duval. Oh, no, it was David Green. What's up, David Green? Why go long and fight the Fed? I don't feel like I'm fighting the Fed by going long here. I'm fighting this NASDAQ and the inflation number. The reason why I'm long right down here on Apple is because we've had this 153 level. So if it breaks, it's an easy out. Otherwise, maybe we get a little bit of a rally back upside, and we can have some nice wins. So, that's really the reason for this. If it does break through 153, we're going to be out of this trade. So there's nothing really here for me to worry about. We have our downside move. And, if it gets through, then it gets through, and we can hit that short again. So, yeah, nothing there. AMD was the same thing. We got out of that, and we're just holding a small piece of both of these longs. So, as you can see, Coinbase collapsing. Here goes Apple breaking through 153. So now we can get out. But that's why I just wanted to review that. We already took 25 cents, so it's the same hit back and forth.
There was some strength, guys, early on. I mean, we're going to kind of have to reset everything at this point after this number, but there was some strength again coming out of China, or Chinese ADRs once again, on a note this morning suggesting that, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday, COVID cases in China heading in the right direction, and that means lockdown's going to be lifted. Some positive momentum anyways for Chinese ADRs. A lot of them have given back what they had gained, but I just noticed BABA still positive with the market now negative, bounced off 88 there. Tesla also announced that the first deliveries or first shipments of cars out of Shanghai was completed post COVID lockdowns once again over to Europe. So, I mean, a little more positive momentum for these Chinese ADRs, but with this number, as I said, going to have to do a little bit of a reset here. Yeah,
I mean, it really did feel, Brennan, that some of these names had a chance to break out. I don't mean to chuckle about it, but if you looked at what was happening specifically in BABA, and you look at the daily chart, it was bouncing off a higher low after, sort of just flashing downside off 100. You made a bit of a double bottom, 83, 84, a good level on the daily chart. You were gapping up and looking like we were going to break this channel. And I had written down, I'm like, okay, obviously everything was, if CPI went well, you were sitting for a chance at a breakout through 89, and then it would have been gonzo. Now that resistance is just straight up resistance. It's like shorting into those prices. So for BABA, that means this 88.75 to 89 area. It's a fade into that one. NEO, which looked like it was doing something very similar, and this is what'll happen to you when you're looking at levels pre a number like that. Like you're thinking about, okay, well 14 even is setting up for a break into 15 on my 15-minute chart, but that doesn't really matter when you just tank. Now you're starting to think about that 13 support that we had yesterday. Now we broke 13 on NIO. And the third time it went, I didn't hold that time. It got down to 1285. I think that's your channel, 1285, maybe 1310. Somewhere in that range, there could be potential dip buy. There's been a lot of buyers down in NEO when it got to that price. They get held pretty well there. And if you go back on your daily chart, like that is the March low as well. So there's a name that hasn't actually broken the March low, which gives you one shot to maybe jump in front of that level and maybe catch a bit of a bid. But yeah, I'm fading the 14. I'm fading the 88 level on Alibaba if we can even get them. Like I kept saying, I'd short a pop in Unity, but like I'm still watching it drop. I mean, now Coinbase is at $57. Like
$57.
Like this is this is what happens, right? It's just when you get a number like this, either you were sitting in a short or something triggered in. It's going to be hard to catch these on any kind of bounces, although Peloton's not too far away from its high.
56.
So might be able to get into that one. Coinbase, you know what the crazy thing was before Coinbase earnings, I was like, don't be surprised if you see $50 on the stock. We're going to see $50 in the stock. If we see literally 50 though, well, that could be a lot of fun.
Literally 50?
No, I mean 5-0.
Could
if
be.
we see 5-0 on the bid,
man.
I mean the day trader in me just going to be like, go for that long, right? 50, 10, 50, 25, something like that.
If we're down that far.
Pretty much always going to make that trade, Brendo.
Definitely. It's crazy. It's been almost one of these per day, it seems like, for the past week or so. Here we go. Upgrades and downgrades. Not going to pay too much attention to this side. There's all the big ones. Roblox, SoFi. It's worth noting there's 4, 5, or 6 negative on SoFi today after that earnings mess yesterday. Upstart there and Li Auto. Even though it's positive, guys, Li Auto higher.
Really? Good for you.
What?
Look, the SoFi downgrade. I'm not saying the report was great, but in the context of the market that we're having here, sort of the raising of the guidance for the fake, I think it said it was going to reaffirm it. It was overall, I think, the kind of thing that can have it sort of squeeze to the upside. Now this does change the litmus a little bit, but we do have something to work off of here, and it is just simply that $5. And if you were watching the reopen yesterday on SoFi, you'll kind of have an understanding of the buyers that were en masse around 5 to 5.10. But you can't fight it forever. We get below $5, and it's just like everything else, where it's going to be fading back in. And you're not going to fight this too hard, but it's holding up a little bit better than some of the other names, which are absolutely cratering here. And I think it's simply because it wasn't as bad as you would have expected. But man, NVIDIA, another name here, NVIDIA was right on the cusp. And so was AMD, sort of breaking 181, 182. And now we're looking at resistance at those levels. We're getting very close to yesterday's bottom, which I didn't think was going to come into play, this 170. Had a 168 on it on Monday, but 170. Yeah, I mean, it'll be hard to not take at least one swing at it. I didn't swing at Tesla at 785, but NVIDIA down at 170. I expect I'll get that Intel level again. That's going to come into play for me almost certainly at that 43.
Just posted the sticky note up there on the chat. We're now $4 now in the money on that trade with Coinbase. So check out the sticky note for those plays every day. Okay, so yeah, we didn't fight at AMD. You're going to see me still in this. We got out of Apple as well. We lost execution fees on Apple because we took 25 cents in, lost 25 cents the other way. So there it is. Here's our Apple trade. Up, down, down. So that's it. And then there it goes breaking. So God, I forget the name there. It was Don't Fight the Fed. You just said it to me and I called you out. So thanks. That you're 100% right. Look at this move coming down now for Apple. So good move in, good call. The market just continues to go lower. But on that note, I'm holding this AMD just on purpose. I'm waiting. It's not obviously it's not a big position. Just waiting to see down here 85. So I have some bids down here at 85.50 where I'll put on a decent sized position just to see what happens at 85. If it breaks 85, then we're gone. It's about as easy as can possibly be here on AMD. So you just talked about NVIDIA. We bought some NVIDIA yesterday. That's not going to look like a good move, although I don't know where it is with respect to yesterday's levels, but we did have a big move up here at the end of the day. So probably, a breakdown here of 80. Here it comes.
It'll be exactly.
So we're going to be long in a second there. It just cranked lower. Somebody just got 85. I didn't get any of them. It went down to 85. Went down as low as 85.60 there, by the way, guys. And then if I had those, I'd be getting out right now because we'd be $1 in the money on those those bids, but we didn't get filled down there at 85.50. So nice little move downside there for AMD. Someone just flushed it. We didn't get any shares, but that's where we're waiting. And then we're going to get out if it takes down 85 flat. So could be a disastrous play here. But check out Coinbase, Brendan 55. And Neil. I know you're still in it as well, I believe, right? Yeah. So wow, down to 55 right now, the lowest it's been. We just tweeted that out as well, that we were in this name. So if you guys are as well, Coinbase just continues to get destroyed, decommissioned. This is just, I'm surprised.
You know the way you got to think about it here? It's like it's so easy to get caught up in, is this business a continuing, like is it a business that'll be here in 5 or 10 years? Will they still be doing what they're trying to do and still trying to grow? Sure, that was also the case of BlackBerry. It's just a matter of what is it actually, like what's the value of it? I'm not saying Coinbase is BlackBerry, but you see what I'm getting at. It's what is the value of it? And right now we simply don't know. Like, what is the level of growth they will achieve? What's the market can do the next couple of years? So you got to put things into a couple of buckets here. The companies that you can actually understand some kind of a reasonable fair value for in the next year, and the other ones where you're just straight guessing. And I think, like I've said it, like I've been literally tracking Lemonade since they came out. And I always thought, like, I know people in the insurance industry, and I cannot for the life of me figure out what that company is worth. I think they could be onto something, but no clue, man. I have no clue what I think Virgin Galactic is worth. And I think Coinbase is kind of going to be in that bucket as well. Here comes 170 on NVIDIA. Did you get AMD?
No, I didn't get AMD yet. And here comes Bitcoin. Bitcoin getting murked right now, down to 29,000 Bitcoin. Absolutely, and I just heard the big grumbles behind us. We just took down 30. That's not a good sign right there. We were waiting for 30 to break. I put a bid on Solana for a little lower, so if I get some Solana trades here, we'll get that through. But there's 30,000 right there on Bitcoin. You do have this bottom of 29 that was made back in July. So you're giving back the whole year right now in Bitcoin, where we made all-time highs up to 68,000. And now you're giving it all back and about to break lower. You break these lows in this environment, is 20 low enough at that point? You know, I'm just talking about it from a technical standpoint here. When you break levels like that, we've just talked about Coinbase, reaching a high of 360 right here was Coinbase's high, and Coinbase is down to $50 right now. So not to equate Bitcoin and Coinbase, but this is what can happen. There goes Coinbase, there goes Bitcoin.
I see your Coinbase.
Yeah, and
I raise you Luna.
Oh, but Luna's the actual token, yeah.
I know. And we talked about that stable coin. And by the way, we were having this conversation I was having this conversation with Brendan this morning. It's like, you got to put the air quotes with the Luna stable coin. And I'll be the first person that's very cautious about stable coins, but it's not a real one, if that's the way to think about it. But yeah, all the way down to 70 cents, that is, on Luna. This is getting ugly. I did say all week long I'll be going long in front of 43 on Intel, so I have started that dip buy. Kind of feel like that's not one that'll break your back, but anything can head down in this market. That's absolutely for sure. I mean, you're seeing a lot of things take it on the chin. Just going to quickly point out, because I wanted to clue into the banks. Even JPM just came back.
Coinbase just broke 55.
Yeah, JPM's down $2 after that move. That was solidly up as well. This is there's nothing that didn't pull back there. You're not going to find it. Pretty much everything made a pullback.
Theoretically, I was going to mention, guys, theoretically, the banks should be the ones that would be stronger. And they are a little bit, relatively speaking, stronger. JPM 0.6, Goldman a little bit worse off. Not a lot of volume in any of them right now. But yeah, the entire market dragging this to the downside. If you're just joining a little bit late this morning, you've missed a lot already. April CPI data out this morning at 8:30, still hotter than expected for inflation on a year-over-year basis, 8.3%, the main story here, up 0.3 versus 0.2 expected. So that is causing this move in the market overall. Let's bring in Arun. Important day to understand what to expect on the overall market. We'll get Arun's take here on what he's looking at for the futures here. We tried to hold yesterday's low, it would appear, Arun, but doesn't look good.
No, it does not look good. That was a quick turnaround. I sat down and we were up 1.2 something percent on the NASDAQ, I think. And I got up, came back a minute later, and I saw this, and I'm like, okay, this is the kind of day we're gonna have. So there's that 50 level, 39.50. Remember, we were working with 39.60 yesterday. It flexed a little bit down to 39.50. Now 39.50 is gonna be the marker that if we can get underneath and stay underneath, we probably open up the downside in a big way. So I would keep an eye on this. We are attempting to bounce off this right now, trading 39.55. If we can bounce and we actually end up underneath, and I think at 9 o'clock, it's starting to slow down a little bit, but as we get closer to these NASDAQ imbalances, as we get closer to the opening at 9:30, 9:25 NASDAQ imbalances, it's going to start picking up, and I think that'll kind of tell you which direction this market wants to really go. Obviously, it's looking to the sell side right now, but we've seen in the past, and this is a different environment now, but we've seen in the past where a move that happens at 8:30, 8:45 is reversed at the open. So barring any crazy situations like that, this market does have the downside open if it wants to take a shot at it. So 39.50, we cracked underneath barely. We hit 47.25 just now, and we are bouncing back. So if we can't maintain this bounce and go back again underneath 50, we're going to start looking for some shorts here and see if we can't work that entire support zone that was holding yesterday from about, it looks like about 60 to 80, that entire zone. If we get underneath 50, I'd like to short and fade that zone on a move back up against 40.10 as the stop. So for now, we're going to keep a very close eye on these 50s. If we can't hold it, we go for the short, work that 60 to 80 zone, and use 40.10 as your stop. And of course, if you now bounce off these 50s, the top end level is still a ways away. We're still looking at that 41.15 top end stop level, so it'll be 40.70 all the way up to 41.15. That's the sell zone up there. So wide ranges to work with. We are sitting very close to that inflection point here at 39.50.
Great stuff. Thanks, Arun. Yeah, lots to understand today as far as the market is concerned. Let's get into everything else you need to know heading towards the open this morning. Guys, grab the watch list every day. Absolutely free to you. That's the link. You can use a QR code there if you're quick with your phone, because I got to turn it off. Let's get into Coinbase. Just an absolute mess of a report for Coinbase. Nothing terribly positive to speak of here right across the board, as we mentioned earlier, guys. I wanted to just show the daily chart here, if I could, real quick. This volume that came in after market yesterday was just unbelievable to the upside. So a lot of people, it would appear anyways, either getting stopped out of positions or liquidated possibly, but a monster volume spike after market yesterday.
Yeah, we've seen the lack of liquidity on some of these earnings plays, but the volume that did come in was impressive. And it looked like, man, before the number, this looked like it was going to be setting up exactly how Rivian and Peloton and every one of these, the gaps down, you play your consolidation, you short it off, off of the aftermarket, a high break level at 65. And if it breaks that, it's squeezing. And if it doesn't, you're just holding on to the short. But this is what happens when the number comes out. Like it takes one trade and turns it into another, which is a jailbreak to the downside. At this point, like I was saying, like you're just trying to figure out what these things are worth and repricing. And if we're not if we're not slowing down now, and already you had the market sort of thinking a little bit more aggressively than the Fed, then what are they thinking now? And that's going to be absolute abject disaster for a lot of the wood names, or just look at the names that the companies that aren't making money, and they have the Robinhood problem, like we said. Like it's not just about the fact there's less crypto trading; it's also that there's just less people on the platform as well. Not a good sign for them, and it's a short till it's not. I think $50 is the type of level psychologically. Like we just broke 100, like literally, like this week, right? I mean, if we get to $50, I'd expect that there's probably some buyers out there. It'll be enough to certainly take us off. I'm going to probably put a trail on closer to the open here and then look to short pops in it. We've seen huge V-shaped recoveries because when you get wipeouts like this, it's not like we weren't screaming downside going into the earnings print. Like you were already off from 130 last week. So, the chance that you actually end up with what will look like a ridiculous wipeout bottom below yesterday's, I guess post a release bottom. If we get back above like 60, yeah, you could have one kind of a squeeze to the upside. So you have to have that in the back of your mind and have it out. I think it's 65 it would have to get through personally, but Wow, Coinbase. Nothing good to say. Nothing really good to say about the report at all. And they really needed CPI to have been slowing down. It's just that simple.
Look, it's great to be $5 in the money. I mean, we called the 60 break. We tried to get shorter earlier, wasn't able to. I don't know where it's going to go down to, but what I just opened up some of these crypto, some of these coins that I've been watching anyways. You might, like, maybe this is a mistake, right? So let me refresh it. Like, look at Bitcoin in 1 hour, 7%, Ethereum, 10% in 1 hour, down to 2,100. This is the 1 hour here, guys. 10% in 1 hour. Tether, still holding up, still 99, so this is not Luna right now. Okay, Binance down 10%. Ripple down 15%. There's my Solana that I just talked about. I just looked in my account. My buy order didn't get triggered, so that's good. But we're going to buy some of this. Solana's down 20% in 1 hour. Okay, like this is not like they came out with a report like Unity or Coinbase and got hit. This is 1 hour for a lot of these things. Polkadot down the same thing. Avalanche, $28. Like I was looking at this thing at like $60 or $70. 25%. This is a 1 hour column. All right, so now let's just.
And really, it's like 40 minutes.
Now let's just slow down. It might even be less than that, but yeah, you're right. Since the Fed, the CPI there. But the point about that is that look, if this is what's happening, honestly, a lot of people are not logging into their Coinbase accounts right now. Period. Okay, why? Because they don't want to break their phones. Because I would smash mine on the ground.
That's actually a very fair point.
It's just.
That's a very fair point.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just like we say it on here, don't log into your investment accounts recently or pretty much any account that holds any equity.
Get a burner phone.
Yeah.
If you keep your old phone.
Exactly.
Right, just get some data on it. You open it up in that, and then you're like,
So that's why I'm saying, like, whether or not, and I believe it's going to be true for all these, FTX, everything. I should see what FTX coin is doing right now. And I don't think this is a Coinbase issue necessarily, but we wrote it down on the sticky note, some of the problems that Coinbase was having. Down 35% in revenues, down 38% in trading volumes. I mean, that's horrible. Like in 1 quarter, that's not great. They were trying to tout that, hey, you know what, like the more volatility in crypto, the better it is for Coinbase. I guess not now.
So you know what one of the other problems is? Yeah. And I know a lot of people probably have this experience. So anyways, like, because I bought the IPO like everybody, well, not like everybody else. So it's like at least waited a bit, but still lost money on it. And the worst decision I ever made that I ended up taking a bath on was selling. I remember the day I did it too. Was selling some Coinbase and selling some Silvergate and buying more Coinbase on a dip. And that was at like 225. And Silvergate, of course, ended up doing well. But it's not even a great user experience because if I bought it, I had to have the app. I had to at least understand what it was. It's expensive. It's relatively expensive. They're going to have to do something about costs, and then that's going to be another further problem for them when they have to drop costs. And it's not the greatest experience in the world either. And they add a bunch of things in there that it's like by the time you can trade it, it's like you don't want to trade it. So. And this is not to pile on about it. I've never really gone into it, but we're talking about them today. It's an abject disaster. And as I just watched, like Nvidia just popped $2. Nice little bounce. Like some of these names have started to bounce. Like Coinbase is still at 55. Like, take a note at what is not bouncing as we're getting a little bit of relief here. We just went 15, 20 points on the ES. We just went 100 points on the NASDAQ, UVXY, even just making a bit of a pullback. UVXY pulled back 1940 to 19 even, and Coinbase barely budged here.
No.
Market's telling you everything you need to know.
And we had down here 85.50, literally 85.50 flat for a big trade because we had 85 to defend from yesterday afternoon. So, that was a level. I'm still there. I still think it could come through. So, that could still come to the downside. Maybe it's going to be 86 though, so we'll have to adjust our order. But yeah, I love AMD here. That's why I told you we're going to hold a little bit just to see where this thing moved. Good thing we did. It's coming right back up to the level that we initially got out at. So maybe this trade, although won't put us back into the money. Well, we're net positive today. So, but obviously we have a $5 winner on Coinbase. So that is what it is. Look, the reason why the NASDAQ, I believe, is going to be bumping here is that number's out and now gone. Now it's in the history. Now it's behind us. Let's just move on from that CPI number. I mean, a lot of these stocks don't care about that CPI number. It's the policy moving forward that's really what we're looking at, and I feel like that policy is already in place. So let's hope that we do get a bounce from that 12,000 on the NASDAQ. That held. I mean, it held 12.1. And obviously, there's a lot of stocks that care about high inflation. I mean, the more people, the less people have to spend in their pockets, the more it's going to affect pretty much every single name. So that's not what I meant. It's just now that's in the past. The market's now reacting to possibly what's going to be coming now from the Fed in the next couple months. So let's just see where we go from there. AMD made it all the way to the backside now. I mean, oil prices are still absolutely ridiculous, but that's been a beautiful move as well. I saw our oil prices and diesel getting knocked out here in Toronto, but that was the move there off that number down to 102, and then there's the move right back up. So although the market seems to be retracing back up, as is energy. So, you know, that's kind of counteracting some of the moves that we used to think about how the market worked was the stock market goes up, energy goes down, but right now you're seeing an inverse relationship now as everything starting to climb back up. And good news on Bitcoin a little bit right now. We did bounce off of 29 clean. I just watched, this is Kraken. So Kraken's bottom had 29 flat there, literally 29,000. So whether or not there was some order there that just couldn't break on Kraken, I don't know, but that's 29 flat there. I just watched this. It's been pretty liquid market. You're back up to 29.5 now. So a nice little bounce back on BTC. So all asset classes, probably gold as well, starting to bounce back on, I don't know why, but here we go back up to the upside.
Yeah, lots to understand this morning. 4% now for crude oil. Oxy, guys, on the list this morning. Off of an earnings report. So have a look at Oxy as well. Let's go on to, I guess, a category of maybe better than the rest today, we could say possibly for Roblox, but still, I mean, they said losses will continue for the foreseeable future. So that can't be good either.
That's an interesting line to say. Yeah, way to get into the specifics there. This was really whipsaw action in the aftermarket on Roblox because it was at one point, it was threatening $25 to the upside, and then kind of came down with everything else at $20, and then it looked like you're going to get a gap back up, and you're going to be able to retest that 25. And I'm thinking, okay, fade off the highs. That's not going to happen here today. But look, you can obviously see a double top that will work off of 23 to 23.5. If you get a wipeout bottom, then it still has to break out from those levels. You did get to, and if you throw out what happened in the aftermarket, and then you look at yesterday's low, there's a 2160 area, which is exactly what we've just bounced off of. So there is, if you do get some kind of a bid that comes into this market, and this is all done. Now, for me, I jumped into Intel off yesterday's low. That's already worked, but those are two different names. Roblox in particular, if we do get a false break further down at the open, and then you whipsaw back to the upside, you'd suddenly have a pretty significant or a relatively significant support area as yesterday's low to work off of, and there's like $1.50 worth of upside into that 23 to $23.5 mark. So I wouldn't write off the chance on a reversal that you can have along here, but I'm not even thinking about that unless it's a failed break down at the open, trapping a few shorts in there that you could at least jam off of. If it gets to that high, I'll be probably fading that one. It wasn't as bad as everybody else. So, but at the same time, you're not making money. You're telling everybody you're not going to make money in the foreseeable future. That puts its valuation in question for the rest of the year. This is what 2022 is.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's too bad again because in that madness, obviously we canceled most of our bids, and we were looking at this 21 level. This is on the sticky note right here, $21. So obviously it based out there, and I just don't have the charts. It's not like it gapped up. I just stopped the charts at 430 there. But a nice little movement here. That's when our chart servers get shut down. So $20.60 right there was the bottom. We bottomed out at 20. So I want to use that as a level. Wow, now Coinbase, man, is now $6. And I know you still have it as well.
This is absurd.
That's an absurd move down for Coinbase as it's still going. We were joking about seeing. Not joking, but we were mentioning what we're going to do when it gets to 50, and I was like, it's not getting to 50. But okay, right here, 20, 2080, 2075 right here. I'm buying Roblox down here against 20. That's what I was trying to say there. We're gonna watch out for that one coming through. And then we just talked about Coinbase again, man. There it is. It is still plummeting. Obviously, we wish we still had the big position on, but we took a measly $1 on it, and then another $2, and now we've got to wait to see where this thing goes as you're down to 53.75. The disaster continues. I just wish this had happened when the market was open, because we would have been able to smash that like so big, like much bigger than we're in right now. But that's why we're holding. You know, I wouldn't have been holding, but right now 53.70 for Coinbase to the downside. Hope you guys joined it in the short. I might just put a bid, Neil, at 50, like 51 maybe, just to get out and then deal with it at 50, because
you know that's going to be the big level.
Yeah, like, you know, it's not about, you know, no guts, no glory here. It's just if it goes to the downside on a play like that, I know I'm going to try a long.
You're thinking what I'm thinking.
At some point.
And anybody who's...
I'm just going to put it
if
there.
you day traded in 2008, I'm not saying this is 2008, but if you day traded in 2008, I'm telling you, it won't make sense that this is true, but the biggest trades, at least for, you know, when I was on the floor and for myself and for most of the people I knew, was when you'd get these just absolute monster dip buy levels. And maybe I'm not equating that to Coinbase here, but yeah, you'd go long on quality names usually in front of like monster key even dollar levels, and everyone, the stack bids would be there. No dark pools, nothing. You just see like clearly institutions on the bid. Sometimes it would rug pull, but you just jam in front of them, and all you had to do was scalp out of it because you were hitting levels that were insane on some of those dips. And I'm not saying Coinbase 50 is like that because it's a very different type of company than say Citigroup falling in 08, but heck, man, when 50 comes, I'll be all over it.
Yeah.
Here, Ford was positive at one point this morning, back to the downside now. Aftermarket yesterday, they confirmed the sale, as expected, of 8 million shares of Rivian on Monday during the lockup expiration. I was kind of interested to note here, they did it all in one shot. So somebody hit offer enter on an 8 million share order there at 26.80, guys, for Ford and Rivian. But done deal. Ford, anyways.
Yeah. I put Ford down here on the sticky note today, and we talked about it a couple times yesterday. We lost on it yesterday trying to go long. But I like Ford coming in here today. We talked about it on a level, and they're done. Like you said, they're at, it doesn't matter the price, 26, well, it matters for them, but 26.80, they sold 8 million. They still hold 94 million shares. So it's not like they're out of the woods with their Rivian investment, as Coinbase now almost $7, and that's just still tank city right there. But okay, so these are the kind of levels that we're talking about. Yesterday it faded out all day. You know, we tried to go long. We tried to defend this 13.35 area. Once it didn't, we got out, thankfully, because it went down to $13. Went back there in the afternoon, up to these levels again. We didn't get to where we opened, but right into here was a level that we were a little concerned about. The move took us through there on the CPI. So right now, I don't have any bids out, but what I'm thinking about is just this 13 level. We held it yesterday in this big move down, then all of a sudden it bounced back into the 1330 level. So if Ford can find a way to make a move down, which yesterday it had absolutely no problem doing that. Oh, I remember the problem was we liked 1380 yesterday and it took it out early. So we got caught there, right? And then we had to get out when it broke 1350, right? And then it was down here. Okay, so now I remember. Fortunately, my trades aren't showing up from yesterday. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But right in here, that's a good level. We should have been long down here. We were looking at Facebook and AMD and all those other names. But hey, Ford, with it only being $13, we can ramp up our share size and use a bigger position on this name. So I like it down here because you have 13 protection and it's not too far away. The Rivian comes tonight. That's going to be a ridiculous move for Rivian, one way or the other. I'd hope so, although Lucid wasn't a big move. Here's Ford on the daily. So you also, not only do you have recent protection of 13 from yesterday, but that bottom down here at 1250. In my long-term account, the investment account, I'm waiting for a move down here to pick some more up, 1250. But for a day trade, I really like it to hold 13. With that being said, NASDAQ imbalances aren't out yet. Let's just have a quick look. Whoa, what is DM right now?
Desktop metal.
Okay,
that was that one yesterday that got.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, why don't I know that name? Okay, Party City, Unity here as well, a decent sell for them, 240,000. That's been getting clocked. That's to come. And then there's Ford. Okay, just talked about it. Ford with 104,000 to sell. So we'll see how that affects the opening print. But again, I want to be sitting here around 1310 to take a decent size, and then I don't really want to average in, but we're going to see what happens with it right now. Ford, what just happened?
No, I said so I had a trail on Coinbase that just hit, so I just got trailed out. I mean, it'll be like you're not mad you have a winning trade, but we'll see what happens. I mean, it just bounced off of like 53 and got back up to 55. So like I said, I took it out. I'll take the $7 and run there if my math is right, or just a little bit more than that. But I'm not going to go over Ford because Sean just nailed it there. But I'm just going to mention, someone asked in the chat, like, what are you looking to dip buy into? And when GM gets below 38, I'm saying when here, but I kind of mean if. I'm looking at the pandemic support, pre-pandemic support was in the low 30s, and that's where the stink bids are already in for this name. I just think the value for the EV space for their transition, it makes sense down there, and I'll be all over it. It's already single digits, so I should probably be buying some in the 35 to 38 channel, and maybe we'll do that. But yeah, we're starting to get some pretty interesting levels if they were to get taken out here on General Motors. Like if 37 goes, look at you guys can see the daily chart.
All right, let's go on to another one getting destroyed here. 34% now for Unity Software. Again, sound like a broken record, but it was the forecast. Missing expectations for you. Coming back into some aftermarket levels, guys, for Unity.
No, it actually triggered before that. I was just going over the trail. I got 54. I got 54.60 because the trail was actually at the 50 level. Because I was going off the chart. I'm talking about Coinbase.
Yeah, because my out's going to be 56.50 here on Coinbase, where basically just where this 50 period is. So we're going to wait to see if it takes out that level there. So yeah, good out. I mean, I don't know. We don't know where this is going to go off the open. I didn't even.
I was trying to get into Unity, and this is the problem.
New York name.
I only got Coinbase because I was in it before the number, and I had to stop. If that number had been shallow, if it had been not as big as expected on inflation and CPI, then we probably would have got stopped up. But I wasn't doing it on Unity because at the time it was gapping up a little bit stronger, at least from those previous closes. I don't want to say it was not as bad of a report as Coinbase, but I suppose it's really not that much better. There's no point getting into it now, but except to say that as the market is bouncing, you're barely getting off the bottom. There's no buyers in it right now. Coinbase just managed to find a little bit of a bid and came back $2. I went on Unity, we can't even make it back $1. So we're getting really close to that aftermarket bottom at 29.50 to 30 even. We start to get down there, and I think it gets pretty interesting for bounce because we're still seeing a market bounce. UVXY has come all the way back to where it closed yesterday almost. But it's 70 cent pullback on UVXY, and we're still having a bit of a bounce in futures, yet somehow Unity is not going anywhere. And it is very, very tempting when you see this, to start saying, okay, it's got to get to the upside at some point. And I'm looking at it just if it makes any kind of a bounce off that 30 level. It's like the 50 on Coinbase. Almost got to do it.
Yeah. Hey, calm down there, Brankles over there.
He's short
cheering
Unity,
on Unity. I don't know if he's short or long. We don't see their trades. He's short. Okay, good. Yeah. So let's go. Greg, man. These guys have lost their minds back there right now. But yeah, we're excited. I mean, and that's what trading's all about, right? Is that when names start moving, I mean, this is why we're here. This is why we play the game, is to be in trades with Unity, with Coinbase, with Apple, with AMD, and some of these big movers, right? There's a lot of names that are slow grinds, and those ones are not that today, that's for sure. Just quickly before we go, I didn't do much work on Unity there. The levels were huge. I'll be looking at Roblox, which is again another software name that's recently IPO'd, and just I have better levels on that for me anyways. But I like Unity Software at some point. We called that yesterday, man. Someone said, "What do you think about Unity?" And we looked at the chart, and it was like, I mean, this could be the name that's down that 25-30% again. And just like Palantir, we had Daniel Shea on, and I mean, and I gave her the question. It was a loaded question. It was just about how are you doing with some of these earnings plays, and it was just like we're shorting every single recent IPO and every name that isn't making any money by either writing calls or she described them all, taking some puts. The puts were pretty expensive, so we'll ask her about that play again this week, Thursday, I believe, or maybe Friday. Her schedule's been a little bit crazy, but I'm looking at Apple here on a rip. If it gets back up here off the open, I still think this 155.50 is an area for me that I'd want to get short. We wrote that down on our sticky note. Unfortunately, that trade came through. Like I said, we missed a lot of trades just because the levels broke so fast on that CPI number. It was 8.3 versus 6.5. I mean, it was disastrous. I think people thought that we were starting to get over the hump, and it looks like now we're just growing that hump, which is not a great sign there. We just took a piece out of our AMD for a winner, so that's good on that one. But Coinbase is coming back up right now. Right here, 155.50 for Apple on a rip. If that breaks, then we're going to get out at 156 right here, and then probably take the long if we take somehow out 157. But I'm going to play a short until it's not. And right now I feel like the market, being still down 0.74, is still a short, Brendan.
Talk about, I mean, really the only smaller cap moving around again, if you missed it, FDA, EUA acceptance, I guess is the best way to say it. So they can now apply for emergency use authorization. That was the note from the FDA. For VERU, got up into this area on the daily chart, which is 1050 through to 11. Seems to be stalling out at the top right now, but there's a buyer here at 950. Clearly, there's support below that. 875 down to 850 was this range from the pre-market. So 950 goes, watch out for this. Otherwise, if 950 holds, you get a break of 975, 980, probably tests day highs. But a lot of room, both directions for VERU today.
Yeah, like I got stopped out on Veru and then right on the CPI number, and then it's managed to hold this level. So if it holds here, I think it's a long through that price. I already have SoFi. I talked about the dip on Intel, so I'm still in it, and I think that this is the one I want to defend. And I look over at NVIDIA here, and that just came back up to this 174. Now, remember we were saying 175 was a big breakout price? That's, I think, that level. If it holds below this, that's where the short would be. If it breaks back out, then you have so much room to the upside that fighting it's going to be pretty crazy. Brendan, 2 days in a row, that Switch company got brought up on biospeculation. Guess what? It's actually done at 34. So if you see that thing moving around a bit, that is a done deal at 34 cash. So not a lot to see there. Rivian reports tonight. It's making a bounce, and like this is the difference between Unity and like some of these other names. Like there's bounces off that CPI number. So anything that's not bouncing right now, you know it's weak. Rivian coming all the way back up to this 2280 level. If we get anywhere close to that 2350, I'm shorting in front of that one. So once we get to 23, we'll probably start putting Rivian on. Just understand, you know it can squeeze higher. So just be a little bit cautious off that open trade.
Yeah, you don't want to get squozed or anything like that.
Never get squozed.
So I just realized that I don't even have shorts for Rivian, so I got to get over there and try to get those right now. And then Fahad's Veru over there. Nice little move back to the upside. We were just talking about this name the other day, and it was like, this is not, I was telling Fahad, I was like, this is not a name to invest in, but if you're trading it, then this is a good name, because today, although it's come back in, I guess, a little bit as we were at 1060 at 7 o'clock today, or 7:45, you're back into 950. So still a nice little move there for Veru as it comes back to the upside. Just quickly here on the NASDAQ, I'm just going to show Coinbase because why not? It's still making that move. It touched 56 and then turned, so that was going to be our out there. Let's just check on the NASDAQ imbalances right now that have come out. There's TQQ, so that's a triple levered up. For the NASDAQ. So triple levered upside for the NASDAQ is there. That doesn't, I mean, whatever. The guy could be trading against himself on SQQ, so that doesn't really mean anything. AMC's down there as well as a sell, so that's a name to look at here. Off of 1150 again. Wow, for AMC down to 1150. Just saw Coinbase right there. That's still a sell, so that's probably providing a little bit of pressure right now on that. There's Roblox a sell. We're sitting down there waiting to pick up that sell down near 20 if it does tank. Other than that, Coinbase just shot up right there. So Coinbase was just 100,000. Now it's 300,000 to sell. So man, the bears are coming for this name, it looks like right here. So there it is. A nice look. You're seeing the move down there, right? So we just broke through 55 and now people starting to hit the bid on that big sell number. So with only 2 minutes to go, should be a good one. We're very, very excited. I still do not have my Rivian short. So I'm going to put that in
I let
right
mine
now.
expire. Like I didn't, you know how you have to do the confirmation of it? I didn't do the confirmation, so I'm just getting mine right now as well. That's kind of that's sloppy on mine. No, it's all good. I've actually almost done it. I probably should have done yours, but wow. Anyways, so Rivian's starting to come back in. The bounce is certainly on. I didn't mention Tesla. I said Tesla bounced off 780. I didn't show it to you guys. We're right back at that 800 level. It's really tempting to fade Tesla there, but if I'm shorting one, I'm going to go to Rivian. I think Tesla's just a little bit further away from those highs to try to take the rollover there. And you can pick and choose all you want, but I just think there's a little more weakness. Coinbase is at where I got out of it on the curl, so it might end up being the wrong decision because I'd love to be able to get back in off of the lows, that 58 level. I might not be able to get that on a pop, might not be able to get a pop on Unity either, but you can bet your bottom dollar. If we see $50, yeah, it's going to be probably go time for at least one attempt at a long on maybe the only one on Coinbase. SoFi is still working off of this 510. This is where we opened up yesterday. 510 is just holding like gangbusters. $5 is my stop on SoFi. I will try to scalp some out on the way up. This could be the first thing. If it tries to pop, I'm going to be covering on the way to 550 with only 20 seconds to go. Lucas is back. He is in the building. Fahad did a fantastic job on the ones and twos, but Lucas, the man, is back here, and hopefully some good luck, and we can get a little bit of a bounce in this market. But the countdown is on, Lucas. 7, 6, 5. Not sure why you're in a hoodie. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ring it. It's like 20-something degrees outside.
Hoodies are for them bad men, you know? That's what Lucas is. Okay, right up here to 88 bucks again for
Thug
AMD.
life.
Yeah, thug life always around here at tradertv.live. But okay, here we go. Nice little move to the upside for AMD, guys. We're long 87.40. There it goes. And bye-bye Coinbase, down to day's low again. 53 and change. Your boy's at 51. So let's see if we get filled up there. 51 for Coinbase. The market is dancing right now. It doesn't want to go anywhere. But down goes Foreman. Down goes everything.
It's Frazier.
I know.
Down goes Frazier.
There it goes to the downside. 53 and change right now for that one. Down goes Frazier. Good call on that. As we go, AMD also thinking about going down. Let's get out of AMD, man. AMD was 88 that we were looking at. It went to 88.20. We should get out of AMD here, guys.
Yeah, and I just got like first look into NVIDIA of 173.97 as it tried to spike into those 75s. 1-to-1, it'll be obviously at that 73, and then see if it'll flush back in. We are still trying to bounce in the overall market, but anything that came in, we wanted to short these pops. Rivian did not. Like, I hate you, Rivian. Like seriously, you never
Harsh words for Rivian.
No, but you never get that pop at the open, and then it just immediately drops $1. Like Rivian's crazy. Like you almost have to be sitting in the trade if you want to catch that.
Yeah, Rivian is nuts. Okay, so 56 right now. Coinbase has come down there to that 53 level. Bounced pretty good off 53. So right now, the 50 period has come down to $56. So that's going to be a good out there if we got to get it. So let's put our bid in for a 56 break. This is going to be the same as everybody, man. Everybody's going to take this break. So let's just put it out there. Hopefully we do get filled on that move. Look at the NASDAQ rocking. We said that could possibly happen, guys, into that move there. That's why we were trying to pick up some bottoms, but obviously the bottoms weren't picked up by a lot of people there, as it was a scary moment for everybody on that CPI move. But there's the move back down. What's my Ford doing right now? We're not into that. Probably taking off. Damn it. Ford to the upside. A nice little move there. Wow. ZEO upside. XLE upside. Some nice moves here today.
Yeah, and there we go, right to that 175 failed break on NVIDIA. So we did add at that price. Look, if we churn through and can hold a bit above, we're going to have to get out of it. If it gets stacked down to like 73s, it will definitely have covered some more. The market is trying to jailbreak. We're at 4,000 on the ES. So it is trying to head back up, but it's that same whipsaw action. Inside of the range, make sure you're taking profit. If it breaks out of it, you're in trouble. I'll note that SoFi is not going with this, so that's under trouble. Because if you're not bouncing with this move, you're relatively weak. And SoFi seeming like that already, Brendo.
Interesting, another one from yesterday. Peloton, guys, pretty quiet on that CPI number in the pre-market here, but big flush off the open. Peloton now down as well.
All right, well, there goes Coinbase, man. Coinbase just ripped. It was a great out there. Not the best out because it went down to 53, so getting 56 is not a great out. But there it is. It took it up and then right up to 57. Coinbase now ripping to the upside right here. So, and I say ripping because it is, man. It just moved back 10%. Coinbase, man. We were down 30+% here when it took down that 52.50 off open. We showed you that market on open sell order. Well, that hit Coinbase pretty hard there, down to 52.80, and there's the out. So yeah, Coinbase, obviously my number one stock here today. We're going to look at Apple as that went up and faded back down. We were actually waiting on Apple at 154.50. That guy's high is 22 there. So we missed that Apple reload on the short. I like that name to go short.
Got to hit this one, man. NVIDIA now falling back into the downside. It just hit that 173, so that's rocking and rolling. I'm your Huckleberry on Coinbase. I just took it at 57. I'm going to short the pop, take the shot. I mean, 58, we talked about the pre-market low, so the post-market low of 58. We'd want to get into it, so we did. I was just hoping Unity would make a move like this as well, but it did not. Unity is only going down. So remember that $30 on Unity? I don't think it'll be the same thing as 50 on Coinbase, but here we are.
Yeah,
I'll be long in a second.
AMD is wild, man. It's a good thing we got out of that at 88 there. I know you have that NVIDIA short. That's a great one. We tried to get short AMD again when it broke through 88. Fortunately, we only crossed down 10 cents and missed it. AMD is now cranking to the downside. Our Apple, we missed that short. The NASDAQ just gave it back again. Now heading to the downside here on the NASD as that's coming in down 1.25%. I'm not in any shorts, man. We're net positive today, but here we go on NASDAQ and AMD still continuing to fall. We wanted to get Microsoft. I mean, we have all the orders sitting there. We're just right now not in any of them.
I'm banking this.
We had this order sitting here, 268. That's not going to come in right now either. So some misses here, man. Microsoft downside. Let's just see what Roblox is doing because maybe that's going to give us a long that we're. Yeah, look at Roblox right there to the upside again. We were waiting for 20s. That didn't happen. Roblox, big time movement, upside 3% plus here for Roblox.
Oh, I'm going to hit that one. I just got out of NVIDIA. I remember the whipsaw that we saw yesterday, so I'm taking the profit and running off of that low of the day. That 170 is starting to come in on NVIDIA, so I'm going to take it and run. I'll hold on to Coinbase short, but not NVIDIA. Brendo?
Here, guys, I mentioned Oxy reported in the pre-market here. Decent report for Oxy, but just got absolutely slammed back through 60. Huge volume spike to the downside now for Oxy.
Everything.
What? Oxy, yeah, everything. Well, oil's actually still up 5%, so I don't actually mind that oil trade there. Roblox is off, man. Roblox is 6% now and ripping right now for Roblox shareholders, so congratulations on that one. If you had the bottom, if you're a shareholder, you're probably not too happy today just because of where we are in the stock price, but a nice move back upside for that, so that's good. I'm still waiting for things, man. Microsoft up to 267. If that can come through, that's not looking very healthy right now. AMD, again, we tried to get another short at 88. That didn't go. Only came to 87.60 right now. Still going to the downside. Rivian, we should be short this name. We know that they're reporting, and this is not a good environment for anybody right now not making money, including Rivian. And Rivian to the downside there. Wow. I mean, some of these trades to have had on that move up, and then now this subsequent move down there on the market has just been a great shorting opportunity to the upside. We were playing outside, not inside, but yeah, some of these plays there. We even wrote down 195 for Facebook as a level, and now you're down to 194 and cranking lower right here on Facebook as well. So yeah, this is definitely another red day coming through here. I don't know what changes this. Apple, that short was 155, man. Right now on Apple, you're down to 151. So yeah, the market breaking here for sure.
Yeah, and of course, like the only thing that I got long, it's hilarious. I got SoFi off of $5, and then I did take the Unity off of $30. We'll see what happens. But RDBX looks like it's halted. But yeah, we'll do one of those for Unity. It's trying to bounce off 30 as we speak. I'm going to take some of this profit already because the stock is so weak. Brendo.
Just had an alert on Roblox, guys. Back to, I guess, aftermarket highs here from the report. So 24.5 got tested there. Big volume spike for RBLX.
And we'll do one of these, another slap shot. So I grabbed in front of 30 quarters on Unity, said we take it off of $30. It already paid off 1-to-1. Let's see if we can get through 31 even. That RDBX that we said is halted to that upside. I also took some out of Coinbase there, which is still on the NASDAQ, Neil, so don't hit NZ. Took some out of Coinbase when it got back to that previous, I guess, consolidation point at 56. I'll see if we can't get this down to the low of the day. Now try to remember, The thing about, oh yeah, there goes SoFi. SoFi just stopped out under $5, so that's
did
going
it
to be a
break
hit.
5?
Yeah.
Holy
so
jeez.
Bye-bye SoFi.
Wow, we gotta get something.
If we get to the low of the day here on Coinbase, I still think I'm going to take, just like Unity, I'm going to take that shot long. So definitely going to be getting out of this in front of the low of the day. You are still grinding higher since the open on Coinbase, even though shorting the pop has worked once. I mean, I don't want to go too many times to that well. NVIDIA, which I got out of to the short side, looking for that 170 long. There is your wick bottom. It just broke the 170 level. Looks like it's trying to retest it here. But I see a wick off bottom. I'm looking for a long entry. This is why I got out of the short, to try and be a little bit cautious here. So into the long on NVIDIA. We'll see what happens. Got a couple of these bounce plays. And I think this is mostly scalp city. Like, this is not trying to hold it to 175. I mean, sure, it could go there, but let's try to remember how weak this market has been. And I keep looking up at Rivian and seeing that there's no way to get into it. I just might have missed that one altogether.
Yeah, Rivian's a tricky one there. We did finally take some forward. We went over there and looked at it. We were bidding 10s. It went to 12s. So we're like, you know what, let's just take some 16s. So we'll take some 16s here. See if we can get back up into 24, 25. That'd be pretty ideal for us if we could get into that area now. There it goes. Okay, we got some 21s as we took out everything at 21. Now let's see if Ford can sort of make this move to the upside now, back into 23, 24s. That'd be pretty sweet upside. That's where it is. And again, if we can scalp this market, we will do that. That's that. So, okay, we'll go back over to Facebook right now. Meta, we just touched down 94 a couple times there. So I'm thinking about holding this until we break back through down 194. I'm not in, but if it comes back in here, this is where we want to get long about 194-ish, and then have this move come in. And then again, it's just because look at this bounce back. Like, if I would have had this move off these bottoms there on the 1 minute, again, this is just coming back into this morning, you just got a bounce of $2. So to me, it's well worth the risk here to try to hold this one a little against you. If it does, not a lot against you, a little against you down here to 194 if it does come back in. So that's a name that I'm going to be sitting on here in case you get that flush back. I still like the Microsoft short. I still like shorts here, but it's just we're so far away from some levels that we got to touch out. So you see Facebook, when it goes, it definitely goes. Some of these other names still struggling here on the downside. Coinbase, we traced.
It's showing some strength.
Yeah, man. Coinbase, we traced all the way back again to $58.
It just got right to that 58 and it made a false breakout. So when it puts a false break the first time, forget about an area stop. The second time through, it's just on that high, which looked like 58.05 or so to me. So I now have a hard stop on Coinbase, because if we get through this, I kind of feel like I should be hunting back for the 60s before I think about shorting it. I did get into NVIDIA. It popped. I looked the gift horse in the mouth. I didn't take it. I'm giving that to the low of the day, which looks like it could break any second now. Unity's about to break the 30. And of course, I'm out of all of the shorts and then never got into Rivian. But here's one that's showing some strength as well. NEO just spiked all the way close to 1390. So there are some names that are holding up on those rallies, even though we are pulling back short in front of 14. Like I said, it's short till it's not. And if you break some of these levels, like 1405 goes, that's not a difficult long to reverse into, given the whip bottom that we have. But first things first, going to short it. Come on, NVIDIA, back to flat. Somehow it held the low of the day there. Ooh, if that works out, that'd be nice.
Yeah, Apple's still trying to make some moves, man. We're still trying to get some shorts if it does come back up too far to the upside there. And there goes, by the way, Ford up to 26s. So this is working out big time for us right here on Ford. Okay, I'm going to cancel and regroup here on AMD. We got to get something out on Ford, of course. Coinbase now to $58. We're actually out of a decent spot on Ford already, but still, we're thinking about getting upside. A decent spot. We're out of a third, so hopefully that's pretty good for us there on Ford as that's starting to go upside. I just want to review AMD. Ford's in New York. Come on, AMD. Right there. We just got another Ford out right there as well. I'm double checking like these orders because I don't want to get too caught up and run over on some of these shorts. So let's double check some levels here. AMD, nice little bounce to the upside. So we were going to short 88, but that just took that out. We should have gone long already on AMD, but we missed that bottom one more time. We're down here waiting at 85.50. Don't want to take too much risk, but there goes AMD right now, taking out that 88 flat. That's not a bad long down there at 88 flat. So Why don't we test a little bit here? We'll start it right now in the 20s if we can, and then if it comes back in, shoot, there it goes upside. There it goes. We just got a long 26 there on AMD. So let's see if it wants to continue its move higher or retrace back in. And again, I'm not giving things very long. That's 87.50 on AMD if we break it. But right now, there it is. A nice little long, couple pennies in. There it is. So there goes the move long now on AMD, guys.
Yeah, I just got a sum out of NVIDIA there, 1-to-1. We're able to take some 171.50 for the buck. I'm shooting for 173 and change for the last of that. And then I took some out of Unity as well on the long side of the trade. UVXY is absolutely dropping. Like, we're going to be back at 18 pretty quick here. This continues. So the rally is definitely on here. The only short I have on that I have back on is Neo in front of that 14, and it feels like it wants to pop off and maybe take it out. Otherwise, the jailbreak is potentially on. And there's lots of room to the upside on plenty of names here, Tesla being one of them. If you are having audio issues, refresh the page, guys. I see a lot of you people in the chat talking about it. Looks like refreshing is likely to work. Tesla got all the way down to 768, now back to that 785 level. So it's reclaimed its previous support level, heading back into the upside. So take profits on the way up. I still feel like you should be doing that. Holding out for the home runs is good, but in this market with the whipsaw action, you want to make sure you're grabbing at least a little bit of profit. Oh my goodness, like some of these names are pretty crazy here, but that Rivian, like
is that back upside? I want to short that.
Not enough. It's at 22. It's bounced like 70 cents or so. I just keep waiting for it just can't get back up as far as some of these other names. That's all.
Man, missed opportunity. Facebook. I said Facebook was a monster, and obviously in that move down there, that's embarrassing. We had another. I'm just going to cancel this bid now. I mean, if it comes in now, maybe we don't want it. But there's Facebook. Wow, holy crow! Is that one a monster? That is an absolute beast to the upside. We love us some Facebook. Should be long that name. That's embarrassing. There goes. What's not embarrassing is $1.20 in 1 minute right now on AMD. Oh, that's what I forgot to cancel. Microsoft goes right back up to 2. Look, go AMD right now. But Microsoft right here catching a bid again. I'm going to get out of some of this because, again, we don't need to be overexposed short to this NASDAQ right now just because of what's happening. You can see Softy bouncing around like mad right now, going in and out. There we go. We just took some out at 50, so 49s. But there it comes back in now, Softy. So this is going to be a good trade for us. Man, this is just wild, some of this action right now, Brendo.
Yeah, S&P just gets back above 4,000, guys. A lot of ARC names reporting not good. Trying to bounce here, though. Big volume just came in, guys, through, looks like 39.5 there for ARKK.
Jeez, this is
and
insane.
It's literally bottom, top. It's like got top on NVIDIA. It just came all the way back to 173. I said I'd bank the profit. Just went ahead and did it because I'm not going to stare any gift horses in the mouth in this morning. If it wants to go through 175, fair enough. I'll have a small piece of Intel left. And then Unity as well. Unity software off the schneid at $30 and heading all the way back to 32.50. Do you think I want to hold on to this forever? Probably not. So,
probably yes.
Yeah. Long? Unity?
I'm just playing.
Oh, okay. No. Okay. Yeah, not going to hold on to this one forever. I did get another short, and that's going to be Peloton. This was the most interesting chart before the numbers came out. Obviously, CPI changed that. This is why. Look at this 1370 to 14 channel. If Peloton gets through this, much to my surprise, I suppose we should say, this one is going to be jailbreak. But look at the wipeout bottom and the tight consolidation. I'm short in front of the high first. I will scalp it for sure. But you get through $14, and you do not want to still be holding a Peloton short. Now the way this is traded. Neo just started its turn. What do we see here for NIL? I'll go to the 3 minutes so you can see. Failed break through the high. The high was not 14, it was 14.03.
Yeah.
Failed break through the high. I just added to the position when it did a failed break. I'm going to start trying to scalp this one out. I actually tried to add a few more shares there. I guess obviously not going to get that to the short side. But if it gets down to 1370, call it like the mid-70s, I'll start taking some of this off. You are still ramping up to the upside, so you do want to be careful. Obviously, I said it like 20 times here with your short trades. Like if you've got shorts on and they're working for you, make sure you bank some profit. Unity long, I think, is risky, but from here, it does have some more room to run, possibly. At least 32.5, I think, is a good target.
Man, good thing we got the heck out of Dodge on this softy trade, man. We started getting filled at 267, man, before it started taking off right now to 268 and change. We still have 10% of what we had on this position initially, as it's just flying right now as the NASDAQ trying to get back to positive here. We're up on softy, even with me holding this. It's fine. A big move up for AMD, but that's come back in. That touched 90. We're long here at 88, so that was a good trade. Not out of it. Let's see what softy does. I just want to notice Apple as well, up to this 154 area. This is a level that I wanted to look at, 155, especially 155.50 here for the short, which was right here. So that was a level. We're getting near that right now, 154 and change. I'm debating going short into this name here as we've had a big move up. The NASDAQ is now positive on the day. So giddy up NASDAQ right now as that's ripping to the upside. Let's start a short right now just to see if it goes up to that 155.50, around 154.50. So we'll give this one about a buck worth of room now on the Apple move. And I just, the long is probably here as well. It's just let's see if we respect yesterday's 155.50 that I really like right there. So we're gonna go into Apple and see what happens from here.
Yeah, and a little bit more to report. We'll do this one, even though, I don't know, obviously the Raptors are gone. But still lots of good basketball. Neo just took some out in front of that 80 level. We want to get some 70s, but this is a pretty strong market. Unity Software, yeah, it goes right up to that 32.50, and it's still going. I'm still going to take the profit. Don't care. Even though we're racing back toward those highs, there's a few names that look weaker than the rest, and Unity is definitely one of them. But we're back to 40.20. It looks like there is definitely a bottom being put in. Well, I shouldn't say definitely. It looks like there is certainly being a bottom put in. That's a better word to use here. Is Coinbase good to get out at that 58? There was one last scalp to the short side to be had until we get back into the 60s. 65 was the money level. If it gets back into those 60s, that's the one we got to start looking at. I thought we'd get to $50. Looks like it didn't quite get there on Coinbase. But what a jailbreak this market is doing here, guys. What an unbelievable turn.
This is amazing. This move upside is just monstrous right now. This is a big move. So we'll get something out of Apple. We're short at 154.80 right now. So we're in the money, but just barely on this name as we took our short right in there, 155. It went to our 155.50 area there, right? So that gave us a good little average in here. Whether or not the market turns here or not, who knows? But there's a little piece out on Apple as the market is trying to turn downside. So we'll put some more bids down here in case there is a little move back
Unity's halted.
What did?
Unity's halted.
Oh, upside, right?
Upside halt.
Yeah, there you go,
man.
man.
Is that
First of all, look at AMD for, wow, $4 in the money on AMD. AMD just touched 92 right now, guys. You want to talk about getting jiggy with it. Shout out to Will Smith there. This is a big move up to 92. Taking this down right now, wow, we might just take that out. 92 bucks right here for AM Dizzle. What's up, Brandeezy?
Just be careful on Unity. Here's what I see, guys. So I haven't seen this for a while, but regulatory additional information. So a heads up on that Unity halt.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that. I pulled up the chart. That wasn't enough for a volatility halt. That's what was confusing me. It didn't really make any sense. But yeah, we'll keep the ear to the ground for that one. I'm still in the Intel. I missed the dip buy on Intel at the exact same price that we got in. So that 43.5 still holding up pretty well. This is not at the highs yet. So anything that's resisting the highs, I'm gonna think about taking profit. And there's no shame in being
There's
flat.
AMD.
Where's my reverse in Neo? There's 100,000 shares on the offer of Neo at 11. Oh yeah, they just took him out. I just hit it as well, but it just got taken out. That's on a bit of a jailbreak. You're now cratering in UVXY.
Nuts.
You're through 18. UVXY is cratering to the downside. Like sometimes they sell the news, and in this case, selling the news was selling volatility and buying the market back up.
This is just an insane move right now to the upside. I'm actually gonna, now that we got out of Apple and we're able to make some money on that move down initially, we can reload it and give ourselves a little bit more room now to the upside. So I'm gonna try to give this name to about 156 now on that break. So I'm just putting the order in right now on a 156 break to get out of this name. if it does fail one more time. But we did get a reload down there, up there on Apple. So right now we're putting out some bids just to get out of some of these positions in case we make that one more move to the downside there. AMD, man, we were so happy to get out there at 92, and then it ripped almost to 93 there. So there we go. AMD, a great mover right now. Apple's the one going. I can't believe we didn't get out of everything here on Microsoft as we're letting this one just fade right back up, but it's at some levels too. It might have just wicked top. Let's try some shorts on Softy.
Yeah, I just got into, finally, for the first time today, I just got into some Rivian shares to the short side. It cracked 22, and then this little shelf, like right at the open, it was at 22.50. It tried to pop up, so 22.50, first level, obviously 23 to 23.5. We'd love to be trading off of that level. It doesn't seem to want to get there, and if you don't get the perfect price, then you trade the setup that you can, which is off of this current level. And given how strong this jailbreak is and what we're seeing have happen in UVXY and the overall market, I mean, it's
Apple
impressive.
just is a monster.
But we just got back to 12.5 on the NASDAQ. That's been overhead resistance and just above it pretty much for the entire week, so we have to respect it.
Okay, Apple just turned into an absolute monster for me there off that 155 short. So that is really paying off right now for us on AAPL to the downside. So there it is, man. I mean, we're just like waiting for those levels. I mean, that's yesterday we didn't do that. Today we're doing it. So worked out here for us on Apple. Waited for that one. I mean, this is what we wrote down, and I'm just talking about being as patient as we can. You didn't see me in anything early. Apple 155.50 short. I mean, we talked about that rate. Oh, you can't see it. Hold on a second. Right here on the sticky note, 155.50 Apple. So we wrote that down as a short opportunity. Right now, if you waited and took that with me, you're now in the money right here, $1 plus. On this Apple trade. So far, so good on that one. The NASDAQ, though, just trying to bounce a little bit. So let's cover a little bit more down here on AAPL if we can, sub 50. But maybe the rip is now happening. We should get some little more aggressive on getting out. But we're still here. There it is. Come on, one more move down. There it is. Yeah, we've got a 48 there or something for Apple back down in. So, hey, maybe the NASDAQ is done its little move up. Let's just hold here and just keep cashing in. There's Microsoft back in. Look at that short, 271. That's come back in now. So hopefully we can get a 269 bid here for Softy.
And like I said, I took one scalp on Rivian because it wasn't the level I necessarily wanted at 23.5. However, we did get into the 60s on Coinbase just there, up to like 61 actually. So it just made a curl. The second target area for Peloton hit, 70s broke. 14 even came into play. It curled at 1384, so I did jump back into that trade. I'm now back into Coinbase to the short side. NIO is relatively strong, and all of the U.S.-listed Chinese names were relatively strong this morning. So I'm still playing that one for the breakout at 14. The only long I'm in, outside of Intel, which I think falls into a little bit of a different bucket, but back into Coinbase, I'd be trading Unity if it weren't for the fact that, that was weird. Unity just actually reopened to the upside. Looks like it's still going. I thought that was an information halt that Brendan mentioned, but it looks like it was just 5 minutes. That's weird.
Man, we are like, this has turned out to be an amazing kind of day for us right now, as we're now $1.50 in the money with this trade here on Microsoft as we pick our poison again. Yes, sir, there it is. We just got another fill on Softy right now. Unity is now open, apparently, so let's go over to there again. I know Neil's been sort of covering this name, but there it is, up to $34, a nice little move back up to the upside. Yeah, there goes Unity now. Wow. I hope everyone's okay on that, as I know there are a lot of people behind us were trading that name. So there goes Unity now breaking new highs upside here as we go. Just took down 35. But we are $1.50 in the money on Apple, $1.50 in the money on Microsoft. And someone said, oh, Sean never wins on Ford. Where is it? Where's that money? There it is right there. We're long Ford right now, 13.16. Sounds like a win to me right there, but yeah, you know what? This is it, man. You have to honestly take the good days with the bad. We talked about this yesterday. We lost pretty good on Ford. So, the fact that we're winning today, you just don't give up, and that's the whole thing. As a day trader, you are going to have negative days. Not today, as Microsoft now $2 in the money and still making moves lower here. So as the NASDAQ gives it up, man, we shorted two names that we exactly wanted. That's Softy, that's Apple. We talked about that. We wrote about them down to those levels. We waited for it to rip up. We screwed up that. Well, actually, we made money on that short, so I don't know why I'm saying that. But that short was a nice one there. Not a great level. There's the reload. Downside move for Microsoft and for Apple. Both $2 plus in the money on these names.
So back into Coinbase, I'm not into Unity because I wasn't really sure what was going on with that halt, but it looks like it's a standard volatility halt and it failed at 35. So might have been a missed opportunity. Coin's now about $1 in the money. Peloton, the reload. Remember, lost the first time on Peloton when it was a pre-market high. And then it got into that 1370 to 14 channel from the 15-minute, rolled over there. So we did get into that short. I'm going to play it back into VWAP and try to hold some for a little bit deeper than that. But this is still a jailbreak off the bottom, so scalping does make a lot of sense, I do believe. Rivian also, sort of the same thing, right? Scalp some out. It's now retesting the bottom, 2250 in the pre-market. That was this resistance point, and the bid was down to 2175. So this is where I would anticipate it could run into some buyers. If it curls here, I'll cover that trade as well. There's no harm taking profit and just getting flat when you got a winner. You bag it, move on to the next. At one point, I was even flat this morning, which doesn't usually happen that time of the day. I meant to talk about Alibaba. I still like the 88 level, but it looks like it's having a huge trouble getting through 87 even. If the NASDAQ gets through that 12.5 area and we start breaking back to the upside, and this is still in play, 88 on Alibaba, like this could be a big one. When you look at the 15-minute chart here, this breaks out, and it's got room galore to the upside, but we're not here just yet on BABA. We don't want to lose sight of it, however. And NEO, that's the only trade that's out of the money. Once it got through that 14, I liked it for the jailbreak. I said this is now a chance for the long into $15. So it's not really much of a scalp trade for me. Like I tried scalping the short, but into that long here, I'm giving it back into this 1350 area because if something's going to go that I'll sit in, NEO looked pretty solid the bottom that it made the last couple of days. Breno?
Another one down on earnings today, guys. Fiverr, FVRR also got crushed down to $30, but trying to bounce here back to 33.5. Still 20% though for Fiverr.
Okay, yeah, Fiverr. I mean, some of these names like that were COVID names, right? Like Fiverr getting people to work remotely on small projects, things like that. I mean, I guess when people are at home, they could work on their own projects, but I just feel like people discovered Fiverr and stuff like that. So maybe that's another one of those COVID plays there. Just quickly, I'm testing AMD off 90 here. So if we can get back into like the 30s or so, then I'll give it 30 cents. I mean, I don't want to really test too many longs up here as we've just pushed green on the NASDAQ. But, you know, we've gotten out now. We have less than 10% of our Apple trade on. We have way less than 10% of our Microsoft trade on. So, yeah, we just emptied them out on that move to the downside. And now we look to get longer on names. And the name that I thought was the most crazy beast here, and we might have already found the trade. I mean, Neil, we have lots of trades of the day today, actually, so I shouldn't say that. That Rivian short was great. We both nailed Coinbase there. Sure. There's lots of great trades, but just right here into this name was AMD. That break right there of 88 was just a monster move up to 92 and then respected some of those highs, right? We hadn't been anywhere near 92. Once we started making those highs and we kind of double top there, we only got out on the second double top when it came back down, but that was a good trade there for 92. Okay, here we go. AMD, did we just get long there? No, we didn't. So we are sitting, oh, what happened? I'm sitting at 30. Okay, so it's coming down here. We'll get long at, come on, we'll get long at 30. We're sitting there on a paid gateway, so let's break through it. There it goes. And our out is 90 flat, so that could happen real fast. But right now, we're going to test the AMD long. Like I said, I like it for the strength, but who knows where it's going to go from here. AMD, another potential move to the upside is what we're looking for.
Yeah, and coin now through 59, looking like it's heading back to that 58 level. That RDBX, Redbox, is halted again. Like this is, I mean, it's been a haul fest. There's been a lot of trades to look at, but certainly if this gets back, and this is the number, I'm not making it up, it's 420. It got here in the pre-market.
You're making it up.
I'm not, man. It's 420. And if we open...
Look at AMD, by the way.
We're opening at 421 according to the tap. It likely gets back to about 5 to 550 before I would short this name. Crazy action on RDBX. At some point, I am looking to trade it, but it needs to calm down.
Hold on a second, guys. It's home run time. It's money cash in. Look at that. We just took AMD at 90.30. Yelled out that price for a little while there. It just went to 91 right there, a nice little 70 cents in a minute. And now we're going to try to get some more outside if it goes up right there. But we are out of 60% of this one. We don't want to count these chickens too much here because AMD is a wild one. We'll get some out at 74. There it is again. Boom. We'll see if we can get another piece out here at 91. But this is what dreams are made of, man. If you're a day trader, these are your markets. It's been amazing the last year. I was telling some guys behind us here that this has just been a wild ride for many of you. Thank you for taking it with us, man. I mean, you've been seeing our executions now for over 2.5 years, I think, as we approach 300. We have 300,000 subscribers yet or what? We're very, very close to that one. And I want to thank everybody for joining us as we are rocking and rolling. We are on fire. And part of the big success is the big man at the big screen. Let's go over to Brendo.
Hey guys, yeah, 10 o'clock. It wasn't setting up this way, but yeah, nice to see. Green numbers, top to bottom, right across the entire board here after that CPI number. 0.6 now for the S&P leading the way, 0.75 for the Dow. The Russell was lagging, small caps lagging, but they did finally get back to positive territory. NASDAQ composite and the 100 still struggling here as well. But we are working in the right direction anyways, right across the entire board. SoFi was a big mover yesterday. Obviously, that intraday halt and resume that followed the earnings leak. Number of negative notes today on this stock. But yeah, nice bounce even for SoFi today. I mentioned Oxy with earnings. Oil now 5% to the upside. Oxy at day highs as well, guys.
Yeah, and that red box, it's 15 cents a share on a $4 stock for some locates. That's pretty crazy, man. We'll see if that one comes out.
Yeah, but isn't it moving 15 cents in like seconds?
It's halted twice.
Yeah.
If it's at 420, trust me, if it gets up to $5, look, I like it at 550 for a short. So if it gets to $5, you can get it. You can get them in 20 seconds, or maybe a little bit slower than that because I'm not always as fast as I was back in the day. But Coinbase is back at that 58, and I've been saying take profit and run. It's I'm not necessarily doing it aggressive enough there. So I'm out of Coinbase. We take the curl, it comes back in view up. Maybe it falls further, sure. It could certainly do that, but the way that jail broke back to the upside, I don't need to sit in it for the rest of the day. I'm still in my Intel long and actually looking to reload it, but it just won't come back to 43.5. So I'll go long that price, and then I'll go long 43. That's just the way it's going to be for that name for me. And I really did think that we'd get another shot at NVIDIA. The way this market's been whipsaw back and forth, you would think that you're able to get a shot at these lows again. Doesn't seem like it wants to come back down to that 170, let alone 171. So maybe it is done for the time being, getting some of those bottoms in these names. I got stopped out of SoFi. Almost like bottom wick. When 5 broke, I had to stop in at 5, never got back in, because that is a false break. But if you're not watching it, you don't really see the false break until it's too late. And it's back up at 550. Worth noting, 510 is your support. If it gets back down there, I think that's always going to be a long if it gets to that price. And all the way back is Neo. Said this one is a hold. This will give me a longer hold. I want to be in this long all day if I can, because Neo looks like it's absolutely breaking out on the higher time frame. Peloton, which we're short, it looks like it's running into some support as well. So I can believe it's as weak as I can believe it's weak, but buyers keep coming into this thing for whatever reason. At some point, got to take the profit. I thought we'd get 13, but if we have to settle for 13 mid, we'll take it.
AMD, we got out of it, but there it is, man. Just went $1 into the money for us on AMD. So there we go. We got out of our last 10% when it did break 90. We got 90 flat there. So we lose 30 cents on 10%, but really cash in on 90. I was trying to zoom in to see, but all of these outs here are in the 70s there. So it's only about a 50-cent win for us. It did go in the money, almost, I guess, $1 clean there for AMD. It's very, very violent for that trade. So it looks crazy there. But, when the move is happening to the upside, we were able to hold that move. But unfortunately, just a little scared to go to the downside here on that play. I'm bidding Apple right now, 153.25. So hopefully that comes in. That's been these lows right there. Come on, give me a bid here. There it is. Boom, right there for the money. Comes in for $2. And guess what our Microsoft is doing right now? It is $3 now in the money to the downside here for Softy. So short here and out, short here and still in. So right now, Microsoft trying to bounce off these levels, same as the market, right? So I just kind of want to hold this in case the market does fail. We got to find some other shorts. It will not be short Facebook because that name is nuts. But right now, oh, by the way, Ford. Let's go again, man. We'll do this because I can't find another car thing. So there's Ford. Yeah, and they're not announcing.
There's a car crash.
Yeah, they're not announcing. Oh yeah, and there's an EV one actually. Here we go. Yeah, let's do EV.
Yeah, there's that.
Let's do EV.
But it's unplugged.
Yeah. But
They're all
Ford
bad.
kind of doesn't really have. They have an EV offering, but Ford more of a.
Okay, I see your point.
Yeah.
We need a
Legacy.
car one.
The name
That's
I'm
what we're
looking
getting
for
at,
is
Lucas.
Legacy. More of a legacy automaker right there. So there's Ford. A nice little move to the upside. And again, this is one in, guys, right down here at 13. It went down. We were waiting at 13.10. It went to 13.12. We saw that wick bottom. But I wasn't using that as like a wick off bottom because it didn't really, the move was down, but it didn't come with too much volume. But we're just like, let's take this because we like the 13 long anyways. So we take 13.16, get mocked a little bit for it, and then it's boom to the upside right there for that play. So that's going to look to be a good one for us on Ford. Well, not look to be. I have an embarrassing 5% left. We got most of this out here in the 40s, so that's enough. You can see as it started to climb, some outs there. We talked about 24, 25, and then we did not predict the market to do this, although the shorts that we have on right now are pretty dangerous, including Softy with a nice short, $3 in the money, and Apple with that $2 right now. So our shorts are nice, couldn't be happier with them. Let's just see where we go. Apple possibly reloading this short right here, 154 if we get back up to the upside. But this market could take off still, so I'm not convinced on shorts. We're just holding small pieces. Let's see if the market does take down this 50 period, but we're holding it, so maybe we got to get out.
Yeah, and that's why some of these longs just set up so nicely that I think you got to give them some room. That's why I talked about the NEO. It's right back at that high trying to take out the tops. I'm not even on the offer, and I'm not really looking to do so until we can start clearing like 14.25 or so. I was trying to buy the dip, didn't get it. 14.25 has to clear, they get into the 50s. I think there's room to $15. Like, this is one that just looks so gorgeous. And on that little pullback, we didn't retest the lows on NEO, which is definitely a little bit of a good sign. Unity starting to pull back. Forget about the 15-minute chart. Starting to pull back here and might find a bit of a bid at 32.50. You're starting to think about some of these wipeout lows, like where can they consolidate? Where can you get a bit of a jailbreak trade? We've neglected Veru, and it's not intentional. I stopped out of it, and thank goodness we did. It's all the way back to $8. So if you had the short in Veru, congratulations. It's getting right around where it closed yesterday. So if I was in it short, this is where I'd be telling people it makes sense to take some profit. And speaking of those shorts, Peloton was good. I didn't quite get it out at 13.25. If we make a lower high here, I'll have to get out of it in front of VWAP. Again, it just feels like in this pullback, we got all the way back to that 12.5 on the NASDAQ. And I thought we'd get that whipsaw action where you retest the lows. You're not. Like, you've barely pulled back. You're right back to afternoon support at 12.3. If this holds here, I think we got a good shot to finally get through this level on the NASDAQ. Brendan?
Just a heads up, looks like Biden making a few comments right now. Just saw this as well as ZNGA popping up on volume here. Post earnings, so a decent report, kind of grinding to the upside, but looks like some Biden comments coming through, guys.
We don't want to be, we're going to get out of some of these trades, man. We don't need to be in anything when Biden's talking, let alone what he's talking about. I have no idea. But we got into AMD. Oops, am I on the wrong stock? I just said to Neil, wow, Microsoft. We're into AMD now, but Microsoft is a monster right here for us to the downside. Microsoft now $4.50. There we go. We got out of our AMD there. $4.50 down. I don't know what is going on, and that's why I was like, wow, Neil, this is just, wish we didn't take that last trade. We were able to get some out there, but that was not a great last trade there on AMD. The market is falling in. Look at that. This is $5 in the money on Microsoft right now off this 271 short. So that's a big trade for us happening right in front of our face right here as the market just took down the 50 period and now we're crashing lower. So look out below. I don't know what President Biden is saying, but this administration, and I don't think it's the administration's fault. I don't know what they're going to do about inflation. I don't know what they can do about it. But yeah, that was a big move.
The government can't do anything about it.
Yeah, that was a big move to the downside right now. There's external factors here. So
the government can't do a thing about inflation.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know what he's possibly saying right now, but it doesn't seem like it's good. We got back into AMD here. Let's ride this high rate again.
So I said if Redbox got to these prices that I would pay for the short and then engage. It just got to it got to 490, halted, indicated open 495. So this continues to absolutely run. It's now only down 12%. Brendo?
It doesn't seem to be anything big. He's just saying that he has all the confidence in the Fed and they will do the right thing and yada, yada, yada. BWV, big mover past couple of days back to the upside here, just took out, in fact, yesterday's high, guys. Another 30% here for that one.
Okay, we are yada, yada, yadaing AMD as well right now. So we're long at 90 here. So we took the long again. We are still 450 in the money on Microsoft. We're still 250 in the money on Apple. But we are dancing with the devil here in what appears to be pale moonlight, because this is a disaster waiting to happen in the market. We're like at definite like tipping points. I feel like some of these names are just disastrously making moves, and like when you see Microsoft and Apple and all these things fall so easily, it's just such a I don't feel good about it.
There's no liquidity.
Yeah, there's no. That's the other thing, right? I mean, that's what it is. There's no liquidity. So I mean, you got to watch out. We're going to try to defend this down to 89.70 again. But AMD right now with a decent long opportunity here. We are in the money, just a whopping 35 cents right now. But trying to get more out of this trade.
Yeah, and I'm real close to finally getting back into. We're close on Intel. It's about like maybe 15, 20 cents away from getting it. I still want another $1 before I get back into Nvidia. I don't want anything in the middle, man. What was the line you guys were using yesterday in the chat? It was like, don't diddle in the middle. So I'm trying not to do that. I'm still holding Peloton Rivian shorts. Those are good. I like the break for still like the break for Neo. And the next thing could be RDBX. It looks like it's about to. I mean, it should be open in, one more minute. I thought it was any second now, but one more minute. And you're playing off these highs now. So if it gets to about 550, it could halt at that price because that's 10%. But obviously, this is a name worth watching. And this is the thing about diddling in the middle. Look at Tesla. Since we went bottom to top, you have a $40 range since the open on Tesla. But the last 25 minutes or so, you're just going back and forth in a $10 range. There is no need on a stock like Tesla to be involved in this. If the market decides one way or the other and you get trapped in the middle in either direction, suddenly you're risking 2x what's inside of this range, which to me is not that enticing. So I'm staying away from Tesla for now. It looks like RDBX will be the next one for me. And I am watching a few other names. Like if we do catch a bit on Veru, maybe it's not done. I'd like to see it consolidate longer, however.
Making sure that my orders are all set to go here because I don't want to get caught. That initial Microsoft short was an accident there. It came up to a nice level, but we just forgot we had an order there during that rip. So I'm canceling some Palantir buys as if that's going to happen. And then we're just getting our AMD ready to rock and roll right now as we're still 25 cents in the money. But the thing is, like our Microsoft, and this is what I was talking about, look how easy this thing is dropping right now. It went up easily too, so there's that side. Okay, maybe the market wants to take this back again. Just debating, we're $5 in the money down here at 265 and change. I was trying to see if we would test some of these bottoms here, but we're super happy because we still have AMD long, but we got to cover one of these names and get some out. So because this is moving pretty aggressively now to that upside, we still have 267.50 here as a possible out for Apple there or for Microsoft. Let's take this out. This is ripping upside right now. Let's take $1. Bang, right there. Whoa, we got out of AMD. Damn it, we got out of everything on AMD. We took $1 clean there on AMD, so that was a good one. I feel like I said this before, man, but we're at a carnival with this market. AMD out right there. We should have held it. I didn't realize we were getting out of everything, but there's a nice move up for AMD. And
speaking of moves up, another up halt on RDBX. I was locked and loaded if it fake halted at the high of the day, which is exactly where it got to. I mean, on a dime, the high of the day. If there was a fake halt up there, I was hitting the bid and just working the short, but it did go into another volatility halt. So once again, you're going to have to wait that 5 minutes. Now you're back on the breakout trail or at least attempting to be back on the breakout trail for a lot of these names in the market. I said I would check back in on Veru for you guys. At this point, it's managing trades. It's trying to hold $8, like I was saying before. A little bit longer of a consolidation. I think it's got another leg to it. Rivian is coming back into a reload price. It's at that 22.5. It's trying to make the break. It got to 22.55. Now it's looking like it's trying to make that break up to that 23.5. So at a decision point for that Rivian. I thought we'd get better than 21.90, thinking more close to 21.75. Ooh, it just put in a bit of a curl. So if it comes, it tried to break 50s there. Now the stop is going to be at that high of the day, another reload. But it's a scalp to VWAP, then a scalp to 22.80. And if we get through the top, reevaluate it at another higher price, which would be that 23 to 23.5, where we wanted it this morning and never got to on Rivian. It was just one of those, if you caught the short on Rivian, I think you were willing to take it well in front of that resistance level. I was kind of being really tight to that level. Ended up not working out here, but overall, we have a couple of shorts that were pretty good. Speaking of which, Coinbase, out too early. It's now back to 56.
Oh, is
so
it?
there's some names which are continuing to fall heavily. You can see the relative weakness in them. Coinbase still falls into that bucket, guys. And if you're watching Bitcoin, that bounced 29,000 back up to 31 and is now finding another leg of resistance. So it's coming back in here a little bit, but still above 30,000, Brendo.
A little light on volume on this, but Krispy Kreme, guys, was up anyway on a decent report this morning. Just took out the high, now 8%. Again, needs some volume, but trying to go anyways for D-Nut.
They reported, didn't they? I think.
D-Nut? Yeah, I think they did. Denied, says this market right now. Now we are escalation to the downside right now, as that there's no way that's Spanish for escalation, but there it is to the downside right here.
It's not.
Yeah, okay, maybe we're bouncing again. I don't know. Like, this is just so crazy. Like, I look down, this is 550 in the money, then I look back up, it's 450 in the money. This is I just got to take this out, man. 265.50. If I can get that on Softy, like, what am I even doing? That's going to be a great trade. I can't believe we got out of that AMD, which is ripping right now like mad. So yeah, you know what? I'm pretty happy just getting out of this Softy at some point right now. 265 flat, or 266 flat. Let's just do that. If we dump down, we'll get out of Microsoft right now. It's trying to bounce upside here as the market's trying to go. So let's just see if we get one swoosh down here, take the 450 on this trade, then book out. Bang, right there, as we'll get the money bags back in the building one more time, as that's the out right there at 266. Reason to get out is for the reload. I want to reload this thing up here, 267.40, 267.50, and then try to respect 268. So let's see if that can come in. We will start the reload right at this spot, but there's an out, man. That's a good out right there. The bad out was AMD, but we've actually we have no negative stocks today, so very nice on that one, but here it comes right back to 92. That's crazy. We should still be long 90 with this name, but we're not. So no crying over spilt milk. Looks like it was a good out for Softy, as now it's 70 cents higher. So there you go. We missed the AMD, but then we saved the 70 cents on Softy right there. So I still don't want, I'm not shorting AMD. This is a rocket ship, so we're not going to do that. But if you wanted to, you have 92.50 coming in. So that could be a little level of concern there for anybody like that.
And back to the high goes a Neo, so we're still hanging on to this. 14.50 the first target. Indicated open on RDBX now $5.75. So pretty much flat, although that can change in the next 30 seconds or so when it does finally open up. I'm looking at BABA thinking to myself, like, Neo's at the high. BABA is just consolidating, not even anywhere near these highs of the day, and we're trying to churn back up to the top. It's going to get pretty enticing to just be long off of the 86 level, and sort of what I mean by this is, if you look at this is yesterday's resistance in the afternoon and off the morning pop, and it was right at that 86, and that's where we're sitting now. So I'm going to jump into it if we can get, like 86 and a quarter, or even reasonably close to it into the BABA. Like, I'm seeing this market, and it just feels that last pullback bounced off 4,000. I think that's a really good sign for the overall market that we've managed to hold that level.
Could not agree
RDBX is open.
more. We're trying to go shorter, though. We just take another trade on Apple right now. I agree. I mean, I don't think this market is dead by any stretch of the imagination. We just bounced nicely. But we are going to continue to short names that I think need to get a little lower here. But the thing about Apple is we've loved that 155 right there. But I'm going to try to love again 154. So we're short right now. Again, not a full position, not even close. We do not want to diddle, Neil, in the middle. So we don't want to do that. So we're going to wait. If it gets closer to 154, I know that looks like the middle, but we have some tops there. So we're going to wait to see if we take down 154 on that trade. So here's the reload on Apple. I mean, it'll be nice if it breaks through 150. I mean, we'll take a bid if it breaks through 153. We'll be down there in the 80s.
That's not even fair.
Right now. What happened now?
I got a partial fill trying to punch RDBX short. So RDBX, it finally does, it finally puts in that wick top. You can see here, it's a wick top through 6 even. When it comes back down, I hit it at 70, as it was breaking, like 90s, I think. I got 77s, but I only got a partial fill. I took some out in front of the halt. Now it's a down halt. I mean, I'm going to say that number again, but if you remember that halt up at 420, I think that's the target for the rest of these shares. It's already indicating a 450 open, so for now, I guess we can be happy about it, but man, that's kind of annoying. But that's the problem. If you wait for the stock to come back down, if you short it on the way up, you get whatever you want because it's running over you. If you wait on the way down, you get what you get because you're trying to go with the momentum, and everybody's hitting the bid, or at least trying to, and it's SSR, and there's Algos probably trying to sell it as well. So unfortunately, didn't get all we wanted. But RDBX finally on the curl, right at that high of the day. It doesn't get any, like that's as clean as it'll get. A fail break at the high, fail break at 6 even. Now halted to the downside, Brendo.
Let's talk about small cap, shall we? There was a couple moving around this morning in the pre-market. This was the main one. VERU showed its hand right out of the gate at 9:30. No bid whatsoever. There's barely a bounce here. It gets all the way down to this support level from initially 850, 860. Tries to hold, but I'm kind of frustrated with this. I did not trade this well. Tried the long initially above this consolidation. That didn't work. Flipped short. That was a good trade, but then there was a huge bid that showed up at the bottom end of that range. 400,000 shares on the bid, kept kind of bouncing around on the levels, so that got me out of this. Goes another 50 cents to the downside. So a little bit tricky on VERU, but very directional, to say the least. EOLS popped up right at the open on decent volume on a headline. 12, if you go to the daily chart, 12, a huge level. On the daily chart. So just trying that one. Low volume on that. So just be careful on EOLS. I was paying most attention to Rivian today off of this level from late in the day yesterday. Gave you a great opportunity, 2280 down to 2120, I guess was the bottom there. I just actually flipped long through 2280. See how far this can go back to the upside, guys. Back over to you.
All right.
Oh, it's good timing, Brendo. Yay. We always hit that when we come out of Brandon doing a segment to a win. Alibaba off of that 86. We're just showing you on the 15-minute what that level was. Now up to 87. Remember, if Baba breaks 88, it's like jailbreak time to the upside. So I did get into this one off of a consolidation. Neo, oh my goodness, Neo just went to my offer. Like the first offer is at that 25, just above that 14.25. I'm actually sitting at 14.33 on the offer to take some out. If we get through 50s, I think there's room to $15 on NIO. Tesla's back to 800 and just went green. Again, it's not the first time it went green in the session. It did so at the open. It's now in green again. It feels like the longs might actually get to win today, but it felt like that way at a couple of points yesterday, and we all know what happened. But it does feel that way.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty okay with everything. We did get stopped out of our Apple short. I mean, it just went to 154, and I mean, our average price was 153.70. So really nothing, because there it is. You can see right there, that's 65. So I guess our average price was a little bit worse than that. Probably, it was probably 60 was our average price there. So we still take a 45 cent hit, and then we reverse it to the long. So let's see now if Apple wants to hold above this 154. If it breaks back below 153, then we're gone on this trade. We will have one average in now, just in case the NASDAQ does want to stay up here. I don't know. I mean, we just talked about it, where it came from. That's that CPI number right there. So, you know, we have a chance to get back there and then just close our eyes and pretend like CPI didn't happen. But I just don't know if the NASDAQ and some of these big cap moves, they're already up. Like Apple got killed on that move right there on CPI, right? So here's Apple coming back down to 152, and then there it is in the morning down to 151. So we know that Apple has a lot of downside here, especially if this market breaks. So you got to be careful with these longs. But that's what I am. I mean, I'm pretty careful with everything, not giving too much room on both sides. So I think that's the right way. Here comes an average in right now on Apple, 153.50, remember. We're sitting at 70, but 153.50 is going to be our out here for AAPL.
I'm with you, Irish Mac. I think it's, like I said, I think it's a long day, but we've seen this, a lack of ability to break out those highs. Someone just said don't ignore GameStop. I haven't even looked at AMC, and oh, give me a break. GameStop doesn't even want to load for me. So unfortunately, I wanted to look at it, but this chart doesn't want to load. We're going to open up in a few seconds in RDBX, so hopefully that will actually show up when I pull up my chart. But I can tell you that gorgeous looking wedge on Peloton, it's still there. Now, I'm still short in front of that 14 even, but that wedge is still in play.
Oh, no.
If we get through that top, you know it's like the Baba jailbreak. It's got so much room to the upside. It's a short that's working for now. We've already cashed on it, but yeah, we're getting really close to this starting to break back out. And there's so many setups like that. That's why the market could go today. If we take out some of these highs, RDBX should be open in, oh, never mind. It could be a 10-minute halt because it should have opened just now. It's tapping, so the theoretical auction price, 476. So it looks like it's going to open below $5, which would be pretty spicy.
Oh my God, Apple touches 50, gets me out, and then rips up where we would be in the money. Oh my God, because we took a 70 bid there. I can tell you exactly how many pennies we lost there on that 38 pennies on that move, when realistically it would now, you know, have been in the money. We're gonna watch that one more time down here at that 153.50. We didn't give it enough room. That is as much as obvious as anything there, as it stopped on us. So we're gonna give it to one. Look, I don't love these levels, so I'm not gonna give it too far, but maybe 153.25 or so here. And we're not, like we said over and over again on this show, you know, these aren't great levels right now. So it's not like, you know, we're putting on bigger shares like we do when or like I do anyways, when it reaches certain levels, right? You got to have like your A++ setups that we talk about, and then just here kind of having fun with this market. But hey, it's never fun to lose money. So you want to make sure that you got the right levels on, but pay attention to when we put on, you know, bigger trades. I try to do a good job of telling you, just like on AMD, when how many times are we defending this 90 right here, right? That's why we did wind up scalping it out, because we had bigger shares. So you got to watch out right here. AMD still at the top side, and then we're watching Apple down through 153.25. Brendo?
One I know our friend Trader Pratt was excited about yesterday, guys. EA Sports, they reported, was doing absolutely nothing pre-market on no volume. Just made a day high there on volume, guys, up 12%.
Congratulations to anybody that, well, anyways, to Reed Detmers for throwing a no-hitter there. But I was going to say, come on, give me a break, EA. Now this chart doesn't want to load up, so I can't even call it up. It's kind of frustrating. Like, my charts are absolutely hating me. I can tell you at least that I did get back into Peloton maybe last time. We'll see what happens. But it did test up to 14. It got to 13.94 and is now starting to turn around. So I got some bids in here in the 60s. Maybe that should even be the 70s now that I think about it. Might have to be a little bit more aggressive because it's looking strong. That chart has now crashed, so hopefully that'll be the end of it. The 10-minute halt will be open in about 2 minutes on RDBX, as I'll get this back for you guys.
Okay, so right now Apple went down. The market went down there, so we did give back some of our day here on Apple, but we went back into Microsoft. This is the name that's really, you're still down 1% on Microsoft and the market. Darn it, and now you're flipping back again, aren't you? Apple's not, but Softy's trying to right here. We're just trying to average it into 268 again. So that was a level that we've liked. We've liked it a couple times here. So let's see if 268 can hold, and then eventually, that 269 is going to be an interesting top there as well. So we got to give this to at least 269 if we're going to be short anything today, including, there we go. Okay, now we got a good average in here. I don't know if it's going to be a good one or not, but as the course now, the market wants to go back up, but that's okay. This is a whipsaw situation now, so we're going to have to wait for that 269 to come through here on Softy. Averaging into the short, fine, but we're still short right now, 267.20. So we want to get a little more right now onto this level and then give it to that 269 or 268.50 at least has to get looked at. So right now, not in too much trouble on Softy, but definitely into a spot where we want to average in. And then hopefully this market will think about going back to the downside, because this is a name for a short that I like. Like I said, we do not want to, and I repeat, now it's come back in and we miss an opportunity to get more in there. We don't want to be short here AMD. You can see this is still very strong, up 4% into the market, looking to buy back any dips. So different strategies for different stocks here.
Exactly. That's a key thing. Like, it's about the thought process that we're trying to put into some of these names and the plays. I was trying to show you guys, EA Sports 125 is a pretty key level that it just curled at. So that's what I was getting at. Peloton. This is what I mean by that huge gap that it has if it takes out 14. Like, just look at it inside of this channel. But for now, playing the inside of it is working. I did get a little more aggressive on the last short and took out 75s and 65s as well, instead of waiting for the 50s. So a little bit of a change there. It's still, if it gets to the high, you got to take it out. We're going to open up in maybe 20 seconds or so on RDBX. So it's now indicating 475 at the open. I'll probably take some out there, $4.50 to $5 when this opens in a few seconds. Brendo?
A little delayed on the oil data there, guys, but it looks like a build this week for crude oil, 8.5 million to the upside versus a small drawdown expected. So another move here for crude, initially to the downside, but looks like we're headed back higher already.
Right. Yeah, oil. You know, I bought yesterday XLE. We talked a little bit about that here on the show, and you could see XLE a nice move upside today. So we'll cash in on that one as we throw some strikes here in the oil market. It did go up to 79 and change, almost $80 today, but XLE is a good one. And we're making everything back right now on Microsoft. So as this market falls back in there, we did screw up Apple. There's no doubt about that. We'll actually slap our face around here on Apple, but we just went back to another weak name, and now we're making bank on Mr. Softy. Wow, down to 50. Look how much this... Look how this thing wants to collapse, like almost instantly there for that. So yeah, let's just get another piece out if we can at 69er, and then we'll see about a 50 bid again. If it, ooh, look at this. Like it was just down, it was just 50 cents lower. This is nuts, man, the way these stocks move right now. I don't remember a time, I mean, it's been months now, but like besides then, there's no liquidity. These things are so highly priced that like, if you just send a market order in, like these are all 100 shares here, like, and some of them are just like odd lots, like barely just making markets. Like on Microsoft, first of all, normally you don't get like a 5 or 6 cent spread, and then normally you get a lot more liquidity in this, which is why that 60,000 that one time that you saw on Tesla was like so significant.
It was a weird thing to see,
you know, because we don't see that stuff anymore.
Yeah, and the weird thing about it is when the size gets in there, sometimes it's like, oh, someone just jumps at it because, oh, there's liquidity. Better go fill that order if they were trying to buy the stock in that particular case. RDBX opens back up. It went whipsaw through 5 even immediately, so it reclaimed, like it opened and reclaimed that whole price at 490. I then took some shares out there. If it gets down to 420 or at least VWAP, that's what we're going to look for. But wow, like the wick off top that it's made, it could halt again to the downside, but I want to make sure we're taking profit. Alibaba, like to your point there, Sean, like we were just looking like Baba was about to break back out. We got the long 86, went into 87. Next thing I know, I'm reloading just a few minutes later in front of 86. And if we can't hold these bottoms, like I'll give it some room. Like if you have an 86 stop, please don't put it at $86. That's the thing. If you're not willing to give it at least 10 to 15 cents at important levels, then you're kind of going to get stopped out every single time. And yes, you'll be paying down an extra 10 to 15 cents, but then when the level ends up holding and you get the buck, you'll be happy that you did it. So you have to trade around it. Like if we're going to go inside the range, I'll just play inside of the range and make sure that we have our stop in. But yeah, it's been a wild, wild morning. There's been all kinds of things you can trade, whether it's small caps, whether it's big cap names here. You know, there's been everything, just a little bit of something for everybody. I did stay away from Coinbase just to quickly come back. It's like we started with Coinbase and then we almost forgot about it. It's now threatening 55 again. This is with the market. Yeah, this is with the market screaming upside, by the way. Like we got back to the highs, like the ES is green, the NASDAQ just turned green again, and Coinbase is back at 55 bucks. So I'm now out of BABA, gave it the extra 10 pennies there. It could not hold. But we could still see 50 bucks. If 55 breaks down on Coinbase and we make another leg back down and retest the lows, maybe we get our shot. We got our shot at 30 on Unity to get the long, and that worked out, but we never got the shot at Coinbase at 50 bucks.
So I'm trying to scalp, yeah, that's true, we didn't. I'm trying to scalp out more Softy here, and thank you for the kind words there, guys, about the king of scalpers, but I doubt that. But here comes the move back down into 85. Oh, man, we're waiting for 83. Oh, did we just get it? No, we didn't. I don't know why we're waiting for 83, but again, I've seen it bounce off 80 a couple times here in Microsoft, so we're going to wait low 80s. Come on, man, like, I don't want to miss this by literally 5 pennies here, do I? But here it comes. Come on, just one more swish. Ooh, I didn't want to go. So, okay, I don't know why it's resisting 90s there. Oh, man, that sucks. There it is again. We miss just by pennies to get out. There we go. Now we got a 90 bid. So there it is. Nice out right there. As we go, mamma mia, sometimes adjusting your price matters. And then as soon as I do it, it tanks even lower. But there it is. A nice out there for Softy. Now we don't have any more bids into 266. So we've cleaned out a little bit of that. We want to try to hold it. Obviously, this is the name that we like to the short side. We've talked about that. So silly of me to get it out so damn early, as there it goes to the downside right now, as there goes Softy, man. We're short at 267.50. This is what we like. We've liked this name to the short side. We talked about it being down 1% when the market is upside. So there it goes to the downside right now. Microsoft coming back in. Let's put a bid in the teens. Come on, baby. I just fought you at 90. Now you can't give me this one. Down there at 266.12 for Softy. Oh, this is so fun, man. This is a nuts right here. These markets are so volatile and so thin. This is a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah, it's just, see the whipsaw action's crazy. Someone just, as I was trying to get shorts on the red box, someone just put 75K on the offer, and like the bid just evaporated. So you can tell the quote stuffing. Like the second that was input and hit the market, bid just disappeared to the tone of like 20, 30 cents on a $5 stock. It's really not taking much to spook it down, spook it up or down. Either direction doesn't make a difference. Coinbase is still holding for now, but Unity's starting to roll over as well. If that gets to 32, you could double dip at that possible 30 price, which would be interesting. I mean, the second time, I feel like if it gets there a second time, it probably breaks, so you'd look for a long on a fail break. The one long outside of Intel above 43, which I'll be probably in all day as long as it holds that level, you're still seeing this nice little wedge formed on Neo. Now, I no longer think the dip buy makes any sense at the 60s. I might look to this one closer to 1385, but it's really holding out. We did short it in front of 14. That worked halfway. We then went into the long trade, scalped some out, got back in above the 14 area. The dip buy worked at like 86, but then we got back in on the breakout. Now I'm looking for the dip buy once again, see if it can continue this upward channel. It's just relatively strong, man. And it's just, that's one of the things that I am noticing. If it's relatively strong, that's what I want to buy. I finally got that fill. Reload, I guess you could call it on RDBX. Really, a reload would be up here. But since the halt, it's shown signs of strength above 480. If we hold below that price, I think we do test that 420 level. But I'm not giving it past the recent high that it just made. So I'm not giving this to $6. It just put in a high at about 545. So 530, stop goes in. 530 breaks. Sorry, 550 breaks, I'm out.
Right, so we actually wind up getting a great fill down there at 266.18 there on Microsoft a minute ago, and now it's up $1 from that level. So yeah, about Microsoft, good. I mean, now it's looking like we have some pretty genius outs up there, but yeah, the market's still trying to fly. Let's take another short here as the market is trying to fly upside. We're only giving this one to 268 break, I decided. The market is way too strong for me to mess with this at some of these levels right now, as it's just bouncing. I mean, I don't know if it's the market strong or not, but this move appears to be pretty strong now as we're starting to go back up to the upside. I'll short 75 for one last little piece and then put our stops just north side of 268. So we'll try that now. If it breaks higher, it breaks higher, and we gone. But right now, Microsoft trying to make that move back to the upside. We've cleaned out Microsoft on everything today. It's been a great trade for us. And so we'll reload this short right now. The last position we just took was a 30. So now we're already back down into the money on Microsoft. But hey, our average price is 267.37. So we get a little bit of a move back down. We could take 30 cents at 267 and then wait for a lower bid to come through. But here we go, man. Microsoft looks like it wants to test 268. Man, what a wild ride this is. Like, I look down, my net is just like bang, bang, bang. It's moving around here, and there goes my, ooh, we just missed that short up there at 75. It went to 68, it looked like. But here we go. No liquidity, and it's a fun time, Brendo. Look at that board.
It's so
she
weird.
Green today, Neil.
I know, man. Like, wow.
Over to Brendo.
No liquidity, no problem today for a lot of stocks, guys. Yeah, nice board right across the entire thing here, pretty green. Worth noting on a couple of notes here. I was going to show you, Dish here, 8.5% to the downside on Dish. There's an investor day tomorrow. They're expecting some sort of offering to come from that for Dish. But EA right above it there, easily offsetting that, 11.5% for EA to the upside off earnings. Take-Two Interactive as well. Having a nice day, 6% to the upside. But, I mean, look at this. Energy leading the entire thing higher, 5% for crude at the top. Material stocks as well here. Also, nice bounce back day. Couple of days to the downside, so rebounding with the overall market here. Mosaic, 7.5%. Real estate stocks are higher. Utilities are higher. Tech higher as well, even with a few names here in negative territory, mostly in the software group. But AMD there, 4%. Banks benefiting the most, as we were expecting, and some of the travel names as well back to the upside. So Yeah, all looks good, guys. Finally, some positivity here. We're 1% now for the S&P. Back over to you.
So I think we were both looking at the same thing. Like AMD's at 92 breaking out.
No.
93. My bad. It just broke out. Sorry, it just broke out past 92 and 93. But look at NVIDIA. AMD's 5%, NVIDIA 1%, and can't get through this 177.5.
Come on, softy.
Relative strength, relative weakness. I mean, look, if we put a curl here at 177.50 on NVIDIA, I know I was long and short, but I stayed away from it. I got a short relative weakness when I see it, so I'm just going to jump in at 177. If it gets through the 50s, yes, it can definitely break out once again. But that's one of those crazy things. Like once you notice it, it's hard to avoid jumping into the weak name there and seeing if we get any kind of a pullback. If the AMD even pulls back, like we should be back down to VWAP, which we've been seeing over and over and over again. Inside of these ranges, there's some wins to be had, and there's scalp wins. But I mean, you just got to take what the market is giving you here. I kind of don't know why there's that difference, to be honest with you. So, but yet here we are. I would have thought we'd be breaking out the highs on NVIDIA, but it's not happening yet.
So, this is how wild it is, man. We were just shorting Microsoft 40s. We just got a 75 bid there. So, I mean, and now it's in 75 right now. So, I mean, this is just, like I said, wild. Excuse me. I don't even have any bids. I just canceled my AMD bids at 90. I want to talk about that in a minute as well. But no bids for Microsoft. I really feel like, again, all we're doing right now is nothing on the NASDAQ. You got to remember that. The NASDAQ right now is just floating. It's just back and forth. It really hasn't done much. I mean, it's a nice rebound, so it's great, but you're only up 0.2% and can't break up or down. So if you find a name like an AMD that's strong, like a Microsoft that's weak, might just be worth holding in case the market goes in your favor, right? Remember that. Like, this market could absolutely tank. Do I want to be short Microsoft? Yes. So worth holding a piece. We still have 40% of this trade. That's now in the money. I mean, it's dancing, like I said, but we're short 267.40 there off that last fill. And now we're going, 267.30 is my average price. But there's that last fill there at 40. It's been a good short. We will wait for monster moves in order to get that, which was that NASDAQ monster move up that gave us that short. But if we're just going to play in the middle, I think this is a good strategy. And then hold to wait to see if you're right? Like if this NASDAQ goes right again, where do you think Microsoft's going to be? This is not going to be at 266. It's going to be at 265. So we got to make sure that we have that. If the market rips up, we have our outs. So there's lots of opportunity here. I think this is where you want to hold a little bit. But yeah, go talk about UVXY.
I keep forgetting to bring it up. And if you're watching it, like I'll look at it myself and then forget to mention. If you're not watching volatility, I don't know what you're doing. I kind of went too big on the full screen there. But it's just holding the lows. I mean, like if we break any, and this is the reason why I think you're finding resistance levels in some of these names is you hold these lows, decision point. We bounce from here, and NVIDIA is going to break out. So yep. I got to take my stop out if it breaks through 177.5 because you're at an inflection point. But if this breaks low and takes out 17, then I don't want to hold that short past the scalp trade. So I did already scalp some out, but I want to hold it past VWAP. If UVXY breaks 17 even, I need to hold this past VWAP. If it wants to stop me out here, I've got to take that stop out. Because any kind of like a 50-cent bounce, a 60-cent bounce, and of course it just stops me out as I'm talking about it, but a 50 or 60-cent bounce in UVXY, and this could absolutely moonshot because it hasn't really gone yet.
Right.
It's only up 1%, right? Like that's nothing for NVIDIA. And it's a strong move off the bottom for a lot of these names. I still hold on to NEO. That's a bit of a different trade for me. Like it just, that one's set up and made its break. And if it's broken, if you've got a breakout trade on, I think you can look for that, that support at 1350 and try to hold it all day. But very few names have actually done that. I think with the exception of NEO, Roblox, and AMD. If there's others out there, let me know because I'm trying to find the ones that have already. Roblox is on the New York that have already made that top end break after a consolidate. I was looking for BOBA to do it. Here's Roblox if it'll actually load. But I was looking for BOBA to do it. It did not. There's Roblox jailbreak. AMD's jailbreaking. NVIDIA could join, but it's waiting for the rest of the market.
We talked on our sticky note about that Roblox 2120 level, and unfortunately we didn't miss it. It hit during, well, we did miss it, I guess, but it hit during the CPI. those levels that we liked. We are short again,
there's not much you
obviously,
can do there.
into Microsoft. But there's the Roblox call. We looked at 21 right there. We liked it. It's on our sticky note. And now Roblox up 18%, getting that relief rally. The funny thing is, you look at something like up 18%, we're right where we were 2 days ago on Roblox. So normally when a stock would move 17, 18%, that's like a yearly move, but not on a name like Roblox, but still today, nice little profit. If you took the risk long yesterday, I don't know if this market is going to capitulate to the downside. I feel like we don't have that swoosh yet for me to call like sort of a market bottom. It's looking great now, but if you are in the money 18 to 20% or so on a play like Roblox, maybe you might want to take some out. So that's possibly why you get some kind of flush down here from 28, because we were up like that 23 or so percent when you went up to $28 there. So watch out for that. I don't know if people will break the top, but this is a very, very strong name. So if you were looking to build some shorts, hard to disagree with something like that around that 28 mark. And as I talk, Microsoft collapses again into what we wanted. We just reloaded that at 65. It's $1 in the money off that reload right there. So there it is. You like that, Trader Prad? Trader Prad's on fire right now. So are we. This is a monster show. Not only did we just reload that there at 63, we just got a bid at 72. So we just make $1 in 2.5 minutes there on Microsoft. You know, I've had to get up out of my seat now for an hour, and I haven't, and I'm still not going to. This market is wild. I love this. If you're not having fun yet, then you must be long. Yeah, this is monstrous right here. As we're taking out some levels, Trader Prad getting excited, and that's a good sign. Brendan at the big desk.
Another one with a nice move today. Airbnb, guys, up 5%. Just having trouble with 123, but they announced today you're going to be able to split your stay between 2 properties if you want. So you can test out one. If you don't like that, you can move over to another one to extend the time away if you'd like. So Airbnb up on that.
Yeah, why not? We talked about liking Airbnb, but that was another one. It just didn't matter what was in the report. Ultimately, you're just going to get spanked. And I said we'd stare at UVXY. It just tried to take out the lows again, and then the NVIDIA trade set up again. It took out the top, reestablished the levels. So you take your stop out, tight stop, and then you jump right back in when it's a failed break, and maybe give it to the actual high here. So I put in the round number of 177.5, but it's actually gotten through that a couple of times by a few pennies. But it comes right back in, gives you the first scalp to $1, so you risk about 30 to 50 cents to try and make the dollar first. And if we fall from here, there's so much room into that downside. I keep thinking that we're going to get our chance on Coinbase, but 55 is holding tight. So if you're still holding 55 on Coinbase, at some point, if this market rolls back to the lows, we're talking about that 50 level. It's obviously more psychological than anything else. Unity has managed to catch a bid, so it looks like that 30 is more of a pipe dream than anything else. I'm still in the Peloton short. That's working. NEO, haven't reloaded yet. That's got to be closer to that 1360. And RDBX, so after halting to the downside, oh, not that thing again. So it's not going to load, so I'll come to this chart. After halting to the downside, it's now consolidating around 5. I was able to get some shares out at 480 to take about 50 cents profit, but it looks like it could be trying to break back out. I'm not giving this to the high of the day. My stop will be right here at about 550 and then cross up aggressively to make sure we get out of it. That's a nice consolidation. Sure, it could fall from here, but not giving it to the top, that will be a little bit reckless on RDBX, as violent as that stock has been.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. I mean, Brendan's going to have money talks in a second, other than the fact that I've just put a bid down here at 265.70 or so for Softy. You could get a swoosh down here. I don't think we break 266 on any kind of a swoosh, but that might get us into those levels of these lows right here. So, the market is still strong. I mean, it's fading out, but to be up 0.3 off of a CPI number that came out like that is pretty disastrous, for inflation. But that might have been, and here it comes down in again. But sometimes the number is so bad that it's good. I don't know if you could get another sort of dove coming out from the Fed. I mean, it would only be really Jay Powell that would matter at this point, I guess. But if there's ever a talk about a quarter point, then this market is going to rip like mad. So just get ready for something like that. I don't think that's coming. It's just that to me is something that I think on that such bad CPI number, why we maybe got back upside here. Because if they're going to use data points as ideas about what to do, then hey, maybe they're looking at it the other way around and just thinking that, you know, this market is so bad, inflation is so bad, are they really going to just stick a fork in it? But right now, looks like we're sitting to the downside. We have $1.40 now in the money on this Microsoft trade, and there's where my bid is, down here at 265 and change. Maybe we just take a 266 bid and forget about it, because we're right there right now, $1.50 in the money for Sir Softy. Brendan, though, money talks. Hey, you got to do something with it. I'm nice it talks, but right now, we're over at the big screen.
Hey guys, yeah, big moves in the currency markets today as well on that CPI number. A lot of green on this board as well because the dollar finally back to the downside after a huge spike. That is a 30-minute chart. So we go from 103.5 all the way to 104 and change here, that high from a few days ago, and all the way back again. Shout out to Frank Caberna from the Small Exchange. Back again next week. Going to pick his brain on how his short is going in this. 0.4 to the downside there, 103.5 for the US dollar. Everything else higher on that. Australia had some positive data overnight as well. So both Australia and New Zealand a full percent to the upside. Canadian dollar bounces back. That was back down below 77 late day yesterday. We're all the way back to 77.3 on the Canadian dollar. So a nice positive day right across the board. It's worth noting. Russian ruble, another recent high, 5% to the upside. Bitcoin, Ethereum trying to bounce here as well, guys. So dollar lower, that means everything else benefits. Back over to you.
We'll hit it again because it happened again. We're back to VWAP on NVIDIA. That's now 2.5 in the money, but I got out of RDBX. It got to 450. Look, it's one of those things where it could have gone in either direction. I perfectly acknowledge that. And I actually had an accidental long because I took out too many shares when I was adjusting an order, but it could have gone either way. But it capitulated through 5 and then found the exact same bid since the halt in front of 450. So I'll just go ahead and take it out. If it wants to retest the high, I guess I'll try and rinse and repeat that short. But it now needs to be below this 450 level. There's just too many buyers. And by the way, UVXY on the rise again. And when it finds support, these things roll over. That's what we were talking about with the NVIDIA. If it couldn't break out like AMD was, there was only one other direction for it to go. Like, I know it's a simple thing to say, but when you're getting monster breaks on a related name, which should be almost moving lockstep sometimes, yeah, I mean, jump into the one that's not going off of the obvious level at 177.5. And here we are back toward those lows. The whipsaw action continues. It's been a while, but it's, like you said, it's fun to trade because you're getting so much movement. And we get it for the rest of the year because every single data point, every single...
you might summer, you know,
but we're going to care about these numbers all year long.
Every time there's a number.
Every time there's a number.
This is going to be a nightmare in the market, I think. Well, not a nightmare, but great for us, but nightmare for volatility. And that doesn't mean necessarily a bad thing, obviously. But, okay, Microsoft. I mean, I wish I should have time-stamped when I was talking about, you know, you want to hold something for a drastic move one way or the other, and the name I wanted was going to be Microsoft, and there it is. Look how many shorts, short, and there it is, man. The jorts are in right now for Microsoft as we continue to go to the downside. I'm going to hold this for a 264 break. We're now 250 in the money on this name, and by the way, like, I bought Solana at $50. Remember when I was like, hey, this thing is down, like these names are getting clocked down. Remember it was down 25% in an hour? It's now back to 58. So right there, a nice little buy on Solana. Maybe I'll just wind up selling and getting out, but that was a good little take there. As some crypto, I just want to talk about this quickly. Crypto back to 31.5 now for Bitcoin, so that was beautiful. If anyone was able to buy sub 30, we'll see if that turns out to be a good move. Ethereum, we brought this to you earlier. That was 2100 back down there. But to be honest with you, the only name that I went there and bought was Solana. So there's a nice little bump up to 58. Let me know. Tweet at me if you were able to get anything in on that bottom right there. But that was a good play for me. No idea where to get out. I'll probably get out of Solana as it continues to make its move downside. But we'll just see, man. That was a bad read and a big swoosh down for crypto, so nothing wrong with scalping out. You have $8 on 50. I mean, I'd take that if I was trading Coinbase, right? So maybe you do that on the NFT side right now. But yeah, what a big day, what a big movement. The fun is definitely hasn't stopped, Neil.
It ain't over. It ain't over. And I'm back to Peloton. I wish we had something for Peloton, but we really don't, because like someone riding a bike.
Work on those graphics.
I don't know, but it just got back to this 1335 area, and because it still has that bullish wedge to it, I'm just going to rinse and repeat it, but I will point this one out. The first short I had was in front of the high of the day. And in the morning show when we were giving our prep, I said it's got a $13.70 to $14 channel. Notice shorting in front of the $13.70 was no good, but the second it broke the high and got into that channel, it was one rollover, it was two rollovers, and they were pretty clean right into sort of the most obvious level you could find, which was resistance at the open. So sometimes you just wait for the structured trade and it will come to you. It looks like RDBX will be a bad out because now it's fallen through 450. I did not hang on to that one. I still have one other long in addition to that NEO, which is running out of chances to sustain its break, and that's Intel. And I might get this. If the market comes back down, we might be able to see these bottoms on Intel again at that 43.5. Remember, on the daily chart, if it's the first time tuning in, you might not have seen how significant 43 is. I go all the way back on Intel. This is one long that I will have pretty much every time until it really breaks through that level. Hasn't happened just yet, despite the market doing all this. There's been scalps to be had on Intel all the way through. But wow, exhausting morning, fun one, and we ain't done when it comes to these earnings names that have a chance to not just go a little, but move a hell of a lot, Brendo.
Yeah, I was saying earlier, guys, there seems to be one a day that's just getting absolutely pummeled. There might be one or two even on this board that could be in that category tomorrow.
Okay.
Like WeWork, Backed, Rivian, Dutch Brothers, Veru, Bumble, Beyond Meat.
Okay, so I just look at this. Disney down 100% or like down 50% from its highs. Veru's on there. Earnings aren't going to matter for Veru, I would imagine. It goes with the FDA there, as we know. Rivian's going to be I don't want to say a disaster. Lucid was actually okay. Tapestry should probably be a disaster as well. But yeah, Beyond Meat's already gotten destroyed. Pure Cycle. I mean, some of these names that have come to market recently, just not great. No. Manulife's up there. That Dave Financial, like, wow. You could be in for
Marquetta as well.
A little bit of a flush tomorrow on some of those names. But yeah, look, been a monster show. We are back into something here. AMD, we're going to play that off 91.50. Get a strong name on a dip right now. We'll buy some AMD right now. We're long at 71 as it just touches 85. Let's see if it can go over to, there it is, 90s, 91. There it is, man. The scalper is right here. We're in the building. We'll take out some more profit there as we're long 70 on AMD, and there it is, out 90 twice. We'll try to hold a little bit of this one. You break back below this 91.50, we're gone. Maybe AMD does trace back to 93. Let's hold a bit on this one. Long AMD, short softy. Seems like that's going to work for me. I'm pretty happy with it. What a monster show. Oh, thank you so much. I saw some kind words here. Fifth Ward Investment Bank. If you're going to do your investment banking, perhaps select Fifth Ward Investment Bank. Oh, shoot. You were right there. That's not, I'm just playing around. I don't know who that is. There it is right here. Enjoying the channel, one of a kind. Keep up the great work, fellas. Proud of you. Thank you. We're proud of all of our viewers for sticking this out with us right now. As, yeah, we're getting excited because there goes AMD on the reload, man. Play the strength, play the weakness, and Neil, I think we'll be okay. We have the right names. That's what it's all about these days.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's about. Relative strength, relative weakness, find your key levels, make sure that you trade off of your plan. That's the most important thing. I think if you have a plan, make sure you execute it. I'm just looking, oh my God, I think Marquetta could be interesting. We'll get to that one at the closing show, but there's so many interesting names.
What did Matterport do?
Yeah, we didn't look at Matterport. And the other one, we also forgot Desktop Metal. That was the other one that we kind of failed to look at, was Desktop Metal. That's making some power moves. But I want to end with Ms. V's favorite. She will be, I think, did she get back? Did she get in? I don't know if she's back
here.
But Tesla, her favorite, if you're still watching Tesla, it tested those bottoms, 775 down here on that 15-minute chart. If this doesn't look juicy to you, look at how it's rejected and just been inside of this range. This is the kind of thing where you break out one way or the other. We know 740 is a bit of a level potentially on Tesla, 700 to the upside, 825, 850. But wow, like there are some sleeping dragons in here that have not gone either direction. You know, and Tesla, or be on it when it does. It's 11 o'clock. It is time. We're going to take you over to Market Movers. Go get them, Trader Brad.
It's time for Market Movers. I'm your host, Trader Prad, and not sure where Miss V is yet, but whenever she is, you guys will be able to see the beautiful Miss V, obviously. Let me just zip up because it's a little cold here. Let's talk about what stocks we're looking at today a little bit. So I wasn't looking at Airbnb here. Let's close that. Let's close that over there. Let's put this over here. And obviously, as you guys can see in the bottom left corner of my screen, I am currently long on Coinbase. So Greg called out in our employee, the floor trainee chat. There she is.